In sewers deep, where cultists creep, they found an ancient clue. It was bizarre. It led them far to a desert no one knew. A temple stands among the sands, ominous, large and tall. What once was sealed is now revealed, windows on the wall. Oh, hear them call, those windows on the wall. Drown them out with the bell. Then watch them fall, those windows one and all. A greater evil you must quell. They tried their best, but couldn't rest. Something kept on nagging. O'er the storm's din, they just couldn't pin down what seemed to be lacking. They weathered the storm, and in the morn they found what had made the squall. It had them shocked, it was unlocked, those windows on the wall. Oh, hear them call, those windows on the wall. Drown them out with the bell. Then watch them fall, those windows one and all. A greater evil you must quell. A continent vast, they traveled fast to find the missing six. One lock shard they had to guard, the other 5 they had to fix. Far town, silver lakes, black seas and high stakes, the trio took up the call. Till one by one the evil was undone, sealing windows on the wall. Oh, hear them call, those windows on the wall. Drown them out with the bell. Then watch them fall, those windows one and all. A greater evil you must quell. All parts were found, they'd be renowned. Then Draves pulled back the veil. The earth was dying, the sun was spying, and all would be lost should they fail. Onward they pressed, a heart in a chest. They were the last hope for all. Grace led the attack, there was no turning back. This would not be their downfall. Those windows on the wall. Well, hello, hello, hello.
Are you ready, kid?
What? Okay, I don't know why I did it a second time. Thank you, Johnum. I played the other one last, Dungeons and Dragons one, and it's mostly for me attempting to get myself to do the other thing, and apparently I didn't change my icon because I'm dumb. There was too many things to do today, and then Lofi is a bop. But yeah, it's mostly for me to attempt to get myself to finish the other ones, because that is the goal. Alright, here we are. Fixing it. Classic buy one, get one free. Yeah, I don't know why it happened twice, but you know, you gotta say it twice. And it has the voice now. It has the sound now. So I think that's very fun about it. But we have the fun new loading screen, which I'm very, very proud about because that seat is wild and incredible. I should get a visual open and ready for the story today. So Mars will be a little late today. Mars has started classes, and unfortunately Mars has very, very late night classes. Essentially Monday through Wednesday, and that means that the only day that we have a long day, like a not late night day, is Thursday. And so we made that the Comic Core and everything. That's why everything sort of switched around. And that's why Ace Attorney's now on Sundays, because Dylan and Mars's schedules is exact opposites, where Dylan's main late class is on Thursdays. So kind of annoying, kind of really gross. You have late classes too, Johnum? What constitutes as late? Because when I was in college, right, when I actually was in college, the latest class that I had was like math was like 5 to 7. Everything else that was late because it was like an elective. So like I had like an ice skating class. And these are like default classes, like classes you have to take, Johnum. They're not like fun, weird classes. Because besides that math class, that was 5 to 7, every other class that I had that was like a mandatory class was an elective. Yeah, so I like took ice skating. That was like, honestly, it wasn't that late. That was like, I think 3 to 5, something like that. 2 to 5, 1 to 5 even maybe. It was like, because it was only like one night a week. Because I remember eating dinner after going to that class. So I'm trying to remember what time it is. Maybe it was 6. I don't remember, but it was late. I remember my scuba diving class was very, very late, and I got I remember that one was kind of creepy because it was kind of in like nobody I knew was in that class, versus the ice skating class I like took with my friend, so we could like walk to like the dining hall together and everything. But this scuba diving class, I didn't know anybody, and I had to take the bus at like 10 at night or something once a week. And so that was really creepy. That one was like a little I always called my mother. I always called my mother and talked to her on the phone while I was walking back. And then I had a baking class that was an elective, and that was late. That I would get back at like 9, but my neighbors were always awake then, and they would always get to eat what I baked in class. So they would stay up, and then I would knock on their door when I got back, and then we would all eat dessert together. That was really fun. So the elective was really fun. But what is it, Johnum? What class is it? Because Mars's classes are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all end at 9:15, and then she has to drive back, which is like half an hour, 40 minutes. Really gross, really terrible. Yeah, really bad. But yeah, Dylan's for he has a lot of that, Johnum, where it's like it professor by, like regular person by day, professor by night. So it's not even trying to be design of work. Interesting. I honestly have very little idea what that is possibly about from the name of the class. It feels like ergonomics, but I don't know. But yeah, a lot of Dylan's professors are like actual lawyers or actual judges, and then they teach at night. So that's kind of wild. Um, mm-hmm. So his is not for like, what's the word? Convenience to the people taking it. Versus, I feel like most of Mars's classes are later in the day, right? Like, I think the earliest ones like start at like 4 or something. So that one seems like it's more for the people trying to like have a job and go to night school vibes. Interesting, Jana. So you mainly just took it for the professor then, this specific one? Yeah, so birthday cake, it was really cool. So I went to a very small college. I went to a college called SUNY ESF, the uh, State University of New York of Environmental Science and Forestry. And it's very, very small. Not a ton of electives that aren't literally based around environmental science and forestry. However, they are kind of quote unquote partnered with the Syracuse College, Syracuse University, which is literally across the street next door, like you're looking at it from the dorm rooms. And it it had all these cool electives that I took. Like I said, scuba diving, ice skating, fine baking. You could take I took an earth science class because I'm weird and I like earth science, but I took that as an elective. Um, you can take horseback riding, wine tasting, all these really cool things. So the bigger the college you go to, the more wild, cool electives they're gonna have. So that's sort of how it works out. When you go to a small school, they don't have like the space, not even the funding, but just the space for those sort of things. So that's sort of the big difference there. What I find. College not fun, PCM? I'm sorry. Oh, that's interesting, Johnum. Well, glad that it's fun. Like witchcraft and witchery. Underwater basket weaving. Oh, that's fun birthday cake. That's nice. Yeah, we didn't have my school definitely wasn't. I live in a place where there are relatively a lot of colleges like relatively close. Like I could go to a ton of colleges in like 8 different directions that are like roughly 30 minutes away each, and there's a ton of them. However, my high school wasn't particularly close itself to a college, so we didn't really have any of that sort of things. We were close to a BOCES, however. I don't know what BOCES stands for, but BOCES is like a trade school, if you don't know what that is. So they have a lot of that stuff, birthday cake, like the machines and tech and like hairdressing and welding and mechanics, like car mechanics and all this sort of stuff. So you could take some stuff over there. They hold like um late engineering, not like forever learner courses, right? Like adult learning courses. That's the word I'm looking for. Adult courses, like trade courses. So that's really fun. Yeah, birthday cake. Are you in your stage of high school where you're like you kind of know what major you're trying to go for in college or not yet? We got a wide variety of people here. PCM, you're still in college, right? Or am I mistaken? So, you got another year. Birthday. You got another year. I didn't literally think about. Okay, that's fine, PCM. You don't have to. Done? Okay, that's fine. I know you have college experience. That was it. I can accept that. Um, but yeah, birthday cake. I didn't choose a anything literally until senior year. Like I didn't look into colleges until I was in senior year. I didn't even think about colleges until I was in senior year. I applied to literally 2 colleges. I applied to 2 colleges. Um, that's not for everybody. applying to only 2 colleges, but I was pretty confident that I was gonna be fine. But yeah, I mean, you're into robotics, you going into engineering. All right. Yeah, lots of college stuff. Everybody has started school. Today was Mars's first day of school. Dylan's already in school, so it's kind of weird. I'm not in school, so that's where we're at. But as you might have noticed, I made today's category for stream is actually Pathfinder instead of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm trying something new out because we talk about Pathfinder now in like our specific storytelling. I'm drawing Pathfinder stuff and all those sort of things. So, we're trying it out. We're testing it out. We're going to see how it goes, what happens. And no. It is D&D Day PCM. This is ttrpg time, right? It was never Pathfinder in pictures. That the Mars offered painting in Pathfinder, so we'll have to see. I think I want to make it. Drawing in Dragons was just so good, right? Like it's just really good branding, right? But I think I'd want to make it sort of ttrpg, like inclusive, right? Like system inclusive. So I'm not sure, like tabletop. I don't know an art word that starts with T. RPG reading. Yeah, that's not an art word that starts with R. Those are the things we're gonna. So if anybody thinks something about that, there's also like we could change it because like we have the arcade cabinet tabletop role painting game. That's funny. That's funny, VTM. Because we do have like the arcade cabinet is like an object, right? Like Comic Corner is like a place, right? So I could even change it to like the multi-table or something like that, but we're getting there. We're not trying to fully be gone from D&D or anything, but everything's kind of weird. However, I think that now is a grand time to jump into the thing that I got. The summary. Right, the summary. And now, and we'll get to look at that nerd later. Yeah, the thing. The summary is actually relatively long. Surprisingly long. I didn't think we did that much this last session. We actually ended earlier than normal this last session. However, I wrote a very long summary. So, with that in mind, I will tell the story, and Mars will probably join in about 15 minutes, hopefully. And so she'll catch a good portion of it. But let us begin. When we last left the party, they had just killed Bowsar, the dragon turtle, just barely escaping with their lives and rescuing Luigi. After collecting their riches, they trucked back through the winding caverns to the cellar. But before they could climb the stairs to the bakery above, Mario rushed into the basement, squeezing Luigi in a massive hug. The party waited, mostly patiently, for the two brothers to finish their reunion festivities, upon which they inquired about their promised payment. Mario asked that they have one final meal before the party got paid, and with some annoyed utterances and a verbal agreement that he indeed have the money and intended to pay them after the food, the party mostly reluctantly agreed. While Miss Molly helped Mario in the kitchen, Lycori spoke with Aloria and Casimir individually to take inventory of all the items they had at their disposal, as fights are very stressful, so one might forget what useful objects they have in the heat of battle. Meanwhile, Miss Molly was expertly making all of the delicious Italian food for the dinner, and Mario was making Luigi's with extra love. As Lycoria, Aloria, and Casimir headed back to the kitchen, Carl, the kobold, popped his head up from the cellar. As the party had promised him refuge in the town of Nindo after destroying his tribe, Lycori beckoned him to feast with them all. While apprehensive about Mawio's welcome, Carl acquiesced and sat at the table with everyone for the meal. It was a bit awkward at first, but the group eventually started settling into a dialogue. However, with every passing word, Mawio was acting more and more suspicious. While Miss Molly and Lycori were trying to convince Carl that it was fine for him to actually eat with them and not just sit awkwardly. It's to Dylan then, Johnum. Oh no, I lost my place. While Miss Molly and Lycori were trying to convince Carl that it was fine for him to eat with them and not just sit awkwardly, he took a closer look at the breadbasket Miss Molly was offering. Suddenly, he cried out in horror and ran back to the cellar from whence he came. Perplexed and on high alert, Lycori leaned in to examine the bread, but before they could get a good look, there was a thud, and Luigi had just slumped over onto the table, unconscious. In an instant, the tentative jovial atmosphere turned cold. Lycori rushed to Luigi, thankfully finding him only knocked out from a sleeping poison, while Casimir and Aloria pelted Mawio with questions and accusations. A jingle and a thud. A coin pouch landed on the table in front of Casimir, who found 40 pieces of gold inside, the party's promised payment. Now, before Mawio could explain, a new voice called out a greeting. Standing to Mawio's right was another rat folk, but not an unfamiliar face. This was the rat folk that had come to each party member at the beginning with a jewel and a job. Mawio's job. With a laugh, the rat folk transformed from the small furry creature to a horned devil. The name's Kimont. Thud. Mario joined his brother on the floor, passed out from the shock. The following minutes was filled with questions from both sides, with only some of the parties receiving answers. While Casimir was courteous, Aloria curious, and Miss Molly, well, likely a bit confused, Lycori was not enjoying this man's smarmy demeanor and turned their own snark up to 11. Casimir and Kimont did not appreciate. What the party gathered from Kimont was that Mawio would have done anything to save his brother. And in hearing this, Kimont struck a deal with him. And that anything would be his mortal life. However, as a show of good faith, or to build a business relationship, Lycori wasn't really sure, Kimont would spare Mawio's mortal life if one of the parties signed a trivial contract. While Casimir, Aloria, and Lycori had no particular attachments to Mawio and were incredibly wary of making deals with the devil, and Lycori just didn't like his vibe, Miss Molly could not stand idly by and let Luigi lose his brother right after they were reunited. So she agreed. Mawio would continue to live out his mortal life as long as Miss Molly did not willingly set herself on fire, something very dangerous for a doll to do. With the contract signed, the devil imparted an extra bit of knowledge onto Miss Molly, that this was not her first life. This doll form that she had now was not her first. And with that, he vanished. While not even Kimont knew what was so special about this little band of adventurers, fate seemed to be weaving around them in mysterious ways, so he would never be far, always watching. Now thoroughly wiped from their boisterous day of killing Bowser, meeting with devils, and signing contracts, the party had some final errands to run before they could pack up and head out to wherever the winds took them. they went to Wallawiggie's hut for some good old-fashioned trading. And after getting all their items situated, Wallawiggie asked if the party would escort him to the next larger town, Alloway, so he could expand his inventory with an even greater merchandise, and in exchange for free magic items, of course. The party agreed without question and made plans to set off first thing in the morning. Now, after well-deserved sleep, the party awoke the next day refreshed and ready to set off. However, over the night, Aloria had drank a potion of shared memories, which was found in the undead ombudsman's tomb. And she learned that the Count, who had given Carl, the kobold, the egg that hatched into Bowsar, lived in the old tower right outside of town and was most definitely a vampire. After sharing this information with the party, curiosity welled both in Aloria and Casimir, who really wanted to check it out. Lycoria, however, was not interested. Between the skeleton, an automaton, a living doll, a phantom, and me, I'm the only one with blood. So, after some discussion, the group resolved to check out the tower another time and press on to Alloway with Wallawiggie as promised. They all packed up and headed out. After a whole day of travel, the party arrived at a tavern, which was the last stop before Alloway. As they entered, hoping to find food and lodging, they overheard the tail end of the story. "And there I was, the three of them surrounding me," the crowd gasped. "Their beady eyes stared back at me, those dastardly geese." Casimir interrupted. "Ah, yes, frightening creatures, geese." The mood in the tavern dulled as Llewellyn, the knight telling the story, stood from his chair. Everyone in the tavern was a human, and while 2 of our party looked human now, 2 obviously didn't, and none actually were. Visibly drunk, Llewellyn, to his credit, did greet the party and welcome them into the bar. However, his mood, too, quickly soured as Casimir and Aloria began asking questions about the vampire count in the tower just outside of town. Noticing the tone shift and not wanting to make a scene or be kicked out, Lycoria offered to restart the party with an acrobatic performance by them and Umfalo. The performance went well, and just as the tension seemed to have settled, the tavern's door opened once again, and a hissing voice spoke. "I wish I hadn't missed the performance," the newcomer said. She was Vishkanya, a humanoid with serpent-like features whose blood's poisonous and bites venomous. Llewellyn stood, visibly put off by the Vishkanya, and grabbed her arm to escort her out roughly. Lycoria and Miss Molly followed, and angered at Lycoria's attempts to prevent unnecessary suffering to the Vishkanya, Llewellyn stormed off into the night after letting her go. The Vishkanya's name was Sylvia, and she told Lycoria and Miss Molly of the rampant discrimination against her people by the humans. Feeling sorry for her, Lycoria put on her show with Umfalo once again, and Sylvia's eyes lit up at the spectacle. She invited the party to her village, which lay just beyond Alloway, to show off Lycoria's performance to them and raise their spirits. Lycoria and Miss Molly agreed and left Sylvia to join back up with Casimir and Loria inside the tavern. They all slept soundly and comfortably in the tavern that night, and had a hearty breakfast and headed back on their way to Alloway. With the city finally in view in the distance, the party was halted by a group of guards and saw Sylvia, the Vishkanya from before, being taken away in handcuffs. One guard, more adorned than the rest, stood up from what the party now saw as a murder scene. Llewellyn, the knight from before's body lay torn to bits and scattered about the road. Prosecutor Lindell, an officer shouted. The Viscania is in custody. We'll see you back at the station for her questioning. Yes, of course, the prosecutor responded. However, there really isn't much need. This case is all but decided. No one would represent a Vishkanya anyway. Lycori tucked a piece of scrap of cloth into the neckline of Casimir's armor, and he shouted, Think again! And the Ace Attorney music starts playing. And that's where we ended the session. Yes, we're about to take part in Ace Attorney in Pathfinder 2E in, unfortunately, 2 weeks. A bit of a cliffhanger there. Well, we shall see how it goes. Let's go. Dylan, Lindell, her image in the game is literally Lana. So that's what it was. I made Casimir Edgeworth. I as Lycori tucked a piece of cloth into his armor so that he looked like Edgeworth. But a lot of Dylan's voices are like Edgeworth variants, because Edgeworth's voice is just Dylan's smarmy voice. So Keymont, the devil, had Edgeworth's voice. So that's very funny. But I also have an image of Keymont because I was asked to draw Keymont. So let me find it here. Here is Keymont. Some of you might have seen him already because I did show him off before. But here is Keymont. I need to show you all this incredibly detailed pattern that I made. I have to show it off. It's very, very, very important. And then there's some fun Easter eggs. So all of these papers are actually contracts, right? And Dylan said that I should have some random names signed on them. But what I actually did is I made them Easter eggs. So all of these names signed are names of previous characters that did make a contract or would make a contract with somebody. So this is Koss. This was Dylan's character. He was a warlock that was literally very into contracts. This is Neothal, which was Aloria's player's character who made a contract with a demon lord. That was right. And then this is Yogi, which is actually short for Yogi Bugbear, which is actually because of this guy right here. You can see him citing it right here. Yogi was Casimir's player's character. This was my character, Za, and he was a bad lawyer and signed his client's name to many things. So that his client probably didn't want to be signed a name to. So that's where we are. That's what we have. And that was the oh, you probably couldn't see it great. But yeah, so it's sad because in Pathfinder there's actually a class that's called the Investigator, and it's the one other class on Pathfinder that I really, really, really want to play, and it's literally what you think it is. It's literally an investigator, right? And it would be perfect for this freaking arc, and I'm very upset that I'm not an investigator for this arc, and I'm very sad because I really, really, really want to play one. Honestly, I think Summoner's totally my vibe, like fully and unequivocally, and like definitely. Oh, I'm yawning. Whew. It's too early for me to be yawning. But yeah, I'm sad that I'm not an investigator for the frickin' Ace Attorney arc, because very sad. But such is life. And that's where we're at. All right. Mara should be showing up any moment, and she'll probably give you a little more because she is Miss Molly, and she did all of her thing. I know. Well, I wouldn't have wanted to be Gumshoe because he's not good at his job. I'd want to be good at my job. You know, I would want to be good at my job. Mars and I actually started watching an anime today that is called The Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited, and it's literally like it's a detective anime, and it's honestly top tier so far. We're only 3 episodes in. I'm dying. I'm upset that Mars has not shown me this anime sooner because, oh boy, it's the vibe. And we were actually talking about what our next comic would be, which is years in the future, like years away. But you know, one a girl can dream, right? And we were like, it's werewolf noir, werewolf detective werewolf. Hmm. But that is where we're going. So how has all yours weeks been? You guys play any games this week? Any fun stuff? I bet PCM has interesting cliffhanger resolution stuff, hopefully, after the cliffhanger they put us on last time. You have not, Delport. How great. How wonderful. When is that going to happen? What are you playing? Do you know what class you're going to be? Are you guys doing the beginner box? Who's the DM? I'm asking a lot of questions, so answer them whenever you can. Because I'm very curious now. Because I'm pushing 2E, right? Every time anybody mentions like doing a different thing because of all the D&D shenanigans, I'm like shoving it. I'm like, hello, 2E here, Pathfinder. Yes, how grand. Go take a look at that. Yes. So I'm very curious how it's gonna go. That's fine. Yeah, I ask class, probably, heritage slash ancestry. Um, is it you or someone else DMing? And are you doing the beginner box? Those are the main questions that I have. The hell? Okay. Very weird. Find random crumbs everywhere. But yeah, and then it's looked like Cinder's doing into Pathfinder 2E and everything. Yeah, what's everybody else doing with all the D&D shenanigans that are going up? Because there's all that AI stuff, and there's all the freaking massive price subscription and everything. I see, I see. Very nice, very nice. That's fun. That'll be very good. But yeah, everybody else who's in D&D campaigns, been playing D&D campaigns, plays other campaigns. I think Jamie's still in that Cyberpunk Red one. Oh, interesting. Ah, that's the other class I really want to play. That's definitely the other class I really want to play, Delport. Okay, bookkeeper, nice. Very neat. I have to look at what the Oathkeeper heritage looks like. I'm not automatically familiar with that one. Archives of Nethys. I obviously know what a dwarf is. They're the same. But character ancestries. Boop doo. Yeah, it's very. I hear it's very, very, very out of out of combat, right? Out of combat stuff. But that's the only other class that I'm like super interested in is investigator. I picked summoner first because honestly, I love summoners in general. Like summoner is my vibe. I want to be a summoner. When I play Terraria, I'm a summoner. When I play anything that I can be a summoner, I'm a summoner. I want to have pets. Um, which is funny because I never played Beastmaster Ranger. I did play one Ranger once, but it was never Beastmaster Ranger. I was definitely a bard person, even though I'm a summony person. I did play a Warlock Pact of the Chain once, though, so, you know. But it was just never what I wanted. Pathfinder 2e Summoner is exactly my entire vibe to a T. I'm so happy with it, and that's what we're actually going to do today, is we're going to try to work on the design for my Eidolon and follow. Auditor. Oh, okay. Very interesting. He would not like my my eloquence bard that I showed earlier. He was definitely very, very, very shady. Very shady on things like that. But yeah, I think we're gonna try to design my Eidolon today, because then that can help me influence my tattoo for Lycori, and go from there. I think that'll be the vibes, and yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, Summoner is everything that I want in the whole world, if I'm being honest. Summoner is just exactly all the vibes. It's kind of supporty, but I can also deal damage, and I can heal. Like, it's just like, very, very top tier in my opinion. I'm loving it. I think Summoner is my new bard, I guess. I was a bard main hard in D&D. But I'm definitely excited for Investigator, because Investigator is the other skill monkey besides Rogue. You have Rogue and then Investigator are the skill monkeys, so it's like, that's also a vibe that I enjoy. So that's where we're going with that. That'll be very fun. Yeah, how's everybody else's Who's-a-ma-whatsies? I do know, Delport, that when you get more into it, Investigator is, because of what you said, right? Because of how it's very, very different from D&D and everything, is definitely one of the harder, quote-unquote, the more complicated of the Pathfinder classes. Like, it's just got a lot of stuff going on. But I think you as a person, when I know about you from our interactions, I think you'll do fine. I think you'll do fine. It's not complicated in a bad way. It's just like, you know how like a spellcaster is more complicated than like a rogue, right? In like D&D, right? Because you have to like think about spells, and there's a lot of things to think about and all this stuff, versus like a rogue in D&D is like, how do I get sneak attack? What do I do to get sneak attack? So that's just how it's more complicated. There's just more stuff to think about strategy wise, but I think you'll do fine, because you definitely like rules and stuff and doing that sort of thing. But yeah, is anybody else trying new systems they haven't tried before? How's I think PCM, all your games are like friend games, right? So they're probably just chilling about it. So, Delport, a very good thing to look into is the feats, right? Because so when you level up, the way that Pathfinder works is when you level up, you get, at certain levels, you get the feats from your race, like your heritage / your ancestry. At certain levels, you get feats from your class / subclass. And at certain levels, you get what are called skill feats and general feats, right? And they're their own tab on Archives of Nethys. You go into character creation. No, I'm sorry. You go to the left and it's under feats. And then you either pick general, no skill, or skill. And those are feats you get at certain levels. And those have to do with your, like, trainings, right? So, like, diplomacy and acrobatics and athletics and all that sort of stuff. Those base off that. There are tons of these feats. There are so many of these feats. And that's where it, like, comes in, right? So a good example is because we were first timers to Pathfinder 2e, right? We played the beginner's box. And once we finished the beginner's box, this was our first session with the beginner's box over, Dylan allowed us to respec within reason, right? So we could pick different feats, we could pick different backgrounds, we could pick different spells, and all that sort of stuff because we were like getting used to it, right? I can definitely see there being a bit of like choice paralysis, right? Like option paralysis. Honestly, I think filters are your friends, right? I think you would do best with like, since you have this sort of idea of what the character is, right? What the vibe of the character is. I think definitely going in and specifically looking into feats that would help you build your character as that vibe, right? As making him this auditor. And I think that's where it's good. So my example is that I was changing feats because I realized that actually having stealth would be really, 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 really good for me. Because my Eidolon, my pet, is already very dexterous. And it gets the same trainings that I get in skills. And so if I became trained in stealth, it would also become trained in stealth, and it's very, very good at stealth. And what stealth allows you to do is it allows you to be hidden and then be undetected. And so this means that it's harder to hit you. And since the Eidolon shares my same hit points, it would be harder to hit me, which is very nice. And then when you essentially everybody gets a bonus from attacking from being hidden. So when you attack a creature that's hidden, they have a -2 to their AC, which is fantastic, amazing. So it was like, why am I not spec'd into this, right? So I changed it so that I had stealth as a skill. However, that means I had to take out another skill, and I was really sad because, like you said, choice paralysis was like, oh, but performance does all these cool things, but acrobatics is so useful, but, you know, diplomacy is so helpful, and I don't want to leave it up to the other people in the party who have very different morals than I do. So it was like, what do I do? We looked into the skill and we changed my background to give me the battle medicine feat, which is a feat that I needed in order to get the archetype that I have, because we were playing with free archetypes. And this is I'm sorry if this is a lot of word vomit in the end, but I'm gonna try to be consistent. I'll talk a little slower. Essentially, I changed my background to give me a different feat, which is what I used my skill feat point on originally. So now I had that one innately. And then I took away performance, took stealth, and then used that new opened up skill feat slot to take a feat called acrobatic performance. And what acrobatic performance does, it allows you to make a performance roll with acrobatics instead, because I'm doing an acrobatic performance. So it allowed me to have everything that I wanted in the end. Like, it worked out in the end. And that's what I like about Pathfinder. What I like, yes, to a certain extent, when you feel like there's so many options, it does feel like a lot of options. I will say, there's not as many options as it feels, right? If that makes any sense. They have a lot of prerequisites. Almost everything has a lot of prerequisites. You have to be trained in this feat. You have to be expertise in this thing. You have to have this feat first. You have to have this other feat first. Yada, yada, yada. This narrows it down, in my opinion, to a very, very easily viable amount. Right? I think that actually allows it to be, well, yeah, there are it looks like you look at that list and there's tons of stuff. There's so much stuff. But then you go, okay, well, I'm not trained in this skill and I'm not trained in that skill, and you start narrowing it down, and I don't have that feat, and etc., etc., and you just keep shaving off things off the list until you get a relatively manageable amount of options. And the reason that I like that it has so many options, it means that you will almost never, ever have to worry about playing the same character twice, right? And I guess, you could technically be here and you could be like, oh, well, there's so many classes and subclasses in Dungeons and Dragons. Why would you ever be, in 5e, why would you ever be afraid of that? And well, yes, that's true. Mathematically, to play the amount of characters that you need to play every single option in 5e, similar to each other. I I I'm not sure. I haven't run into a case, and this is just me personally. I've only played one character. I'm only playing one character. I'm only level 2. I have not run into. Oh, hello, Mars. Um,
Hi, I didn't want to interrupt. You were
no,
on
no
such a
worries.
roll.
I have not yet, again, only level 2, one character, run into a position where it's like everything is so similar that I'm having a problem, right? It's and we'll ask Mars because Mars is much newer to the D&D scene, so the ttrpg scene. So we'll ask
Oh,
Mars
what
her
perspective
opinion in
do
a
I get
second.
to add?
Uh the sort of choice paralysis possibles perspective, the overwhelming perspective, the there's too many options perspective, what you think about that sort of. Um
So like, are we talking too many options? Picking a class, picking spells? Like, you gotta narrow it down for me here. Also, hello, Delport, and
yeah,
chat. Hello,
I
one and
haven't
all.
the only time I see something similar is in different places. And what I mean by that is that so my character has the I think it's the Ancestry Anadi, the Heritage Ganzi. So those give you feats, right? That I can choose one feat at level like 1, 5, 7, 9, something like that. And then I can also choose, and then you get the skill feats, and then you get the general feats, and these are all at very different levels. Now, there's a Ganzi feat that is very similar to like a skill feat or like a general feat. But in my opinion, while that is true, they're very similar. Since they're in different sections of where you get to build your character, it allows you to make sure you get what you want, right? So it's like, okay, I'm between 3 general feats. Well, I can actually get one of those general feats from my Ganzi feat at level 5, right? I just have to
So
wait a little
you're
longer.
talking about optimizing your build, and some features
So
don't come until later.
no, so Delport is about to play Pathfinder 2e for the first time.
Oh,
And
congrats.
he's sort of looking into all of the feats and the archetypes and all of that stuff. Um, See, yeah, no, that's why I don't think it's a problem, Delport, because it actually helps you out. Now, you've had to choose a couple of these, right, Mars? There were so many backgrounds, right? There's so many um feats, right? We picked that skill feat, right? There's so
Oh
many
yeah.
skill feats. There's so many, we picked archetypes, right? There's so many archetypes. How does I guess the main question is how did that make you feel? Right? Was that overwhelming or, concerning in any
I
way?
I guess overwhelming in one respect, just because there was so much to pick from. And let's be honest, guys, I am still very much a newbie to D&D by perspective. So I'm still learning, like, how do I optimize this? How do I do that? Rather than just play, oh, that sounds cool, I'll take that. So I do take Ori and Dylan's opinions on how I should build my character very
Well, Delport's
like
less
into
concerned
consideration.
about the optimization, and I would say, Mars, that in Pathfinder 2e, there seems to be general less concern about optimization, just
Hmm.
because the balance is very nice. Do you
It does
feel?
seem that Pathfinder gives you more, I guess the word is flexibility, to
Mm,
just play how you want. Like, you don't have to be like, okay, I have to take this feat because this is the only way my character is going to be useful. It's like you can take a feat just because you want to have it and it sounds cool to you.
okay, let's see Delport's example. Okay, see that's where Pathfinder 2e excels, Delport. And this is what I'm
Yeah,
going to say.
that
You
will help.
can have both vibes because they're not mutually exclusive, right? Very few things in Pathfinder are like class and subclass mutually exclusive, right? And you can even go into like the whole multi-classing thing, which is a whole can of worms that I wouldn't suggest trying to deal with right now, because just I don't know about that yet. We're not trying to do that in our group yet.
Do.
But the whole idea is that it's not mutually exclusive, right? That there are so many things. Pathfinder 2e is built to be incredibly modular, right? So you can get so I guess the question, Mars, would be, you had a very specific idea for this character for Pathfinder, what you wanted to do, the flavor that you wanted to do, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like that has been relatively easier to achieve, as Delport says, getting cool things that you want? Does that make sense? And not things that you have to take because they're good.
Oh yeah, when it's phrased that way, now I get the question. I would say yes. I went in with a very specific idea of I want my character to be a cook. I want to use spells. I would like the spells to be like the things she's cooked. Occasionally, I'm able to throw that kind of flavor in, like, oh, these are talking toffees or whatever. Um, but half the time that just comes down to me. There's not really a feat or anything for that. I think I'm trying to remember the feats I have. I think one of them is what's the lucky feat I have? What's the name of that one? Blessed one?
Blessed
Is
one,
that a
that's
feat?
your archetype. So
That's an
it gives
archetype.
you
Okay.
feats. It gives you feats. So it gives you that feat where you can use your focus points to heal people in two different ways.
Yeah. Which is very nice. Like honestly, so I remember going through the archetypes, the ones Dylan had sent me, and I was going through them, and I really liked Blessed One because not only did I find it useful and it helps like my character, it also kind of plays a little bit into the backstory I'm concocting. So I felt it was really it allowed for a lot of customization, and I felt like I was able to have the character I wanted. Now, I can't say in any of my previous experiences before Pathfinder that I never had a character I didn't want per se. But if we're looking at, like, let's say Gilith, for example, uh, Ori, when she was DMing, had to give me a whole item, um, the Spornament, so
Mm,
I could become a different type of druid because the type of one I was just
wasn't what you
it
wanted.
wasn't working. It wasn't working. I thought it was what I wanted, and then I was pretty fragile and useless in battle. So Pathfinder, I don't think
So Delport,
would oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so sorry, guys.
well, while you think of that, Delport, archetypes are a little different in the sense of that, like, the base game.
Limit. That's the word.
I
Would
see.
limit you.
Mm.
Yeah. All that time to think of a simple
So
word.
base game Pathfinder 2e Delport, and this is if I'm understanding it correctly. Taking an archetype allows you to get access to more special feats, right? So you can take the medic archetype, and then when you get to choose skill feats or class feats, I can't remember which kind of feat, you can instead choose one from your archetype. Now, there's also the optional rule that is built into Pathfinder 2e that allows a free archetype. And what that is that in addition to everything else that I have just stated, you also get an archetype. Now, yes, certain archetypes have prerequisites. The archetype I have has a feat prerequisite, but it then allows that at those levels that the archetype tells you you get feats, you just get those on top of all your other feats. That's how we're playing. The reason we are playing that way,
And then they stack in a sense, right?
well, in that case, yes, Delport. However, in this way, they stack, right? Yeah, in this way,
Yeah.
they stack. You get literally more feats. So that's a DM, if your DM allows you to do that. The reason we decided to do that was because being relatively, most of us being relatively sort of in D&D, right? Like playing it for a number of years, three out of the five of us are DMs, right? Like 3 out of the 5 of us knew rules very, very well. One player also ended up knowing the rules very well. Only Mars was kind of new, but it still had like a year
Guys,
and a half in the game. So
our group sans me knows these rules so well. They do quizzes in the car and bet on who gets the answer right. I kid you not.
for
It's
5e, for
fascinating
5e.
to watch.
Um,
It is fascinating to watch.
but being relatively solid in our like just general tabletop game understanding, right, of the vibe, we felt actually in a weird sense a little bored, I guess you could say, in the sense of things that we wanted to do. And I think this is mainly because we are starting at level, like we did start at level 1, right? Like we did start at level 1. I would say level 1 in 5e is also very boring. There's not much you could do anyway. But while we wanted to start at level 1 so we weren't crazy right off the bat, because that is a lot, we did want to get a little more, and so Dylan ended up utilizing this optional rule to give us that little bit more. And I'm having a great time. I think Mars, yeah, you having a great time?
Oh, a phenomenal time. I freaking love my character
So
in this one.
I'm curious, Mars,
Yeah.
especially since Delport is somebody uh, going from 5e to Pathfinder 2e. How did you feel the transition was, being the person sort of medium on everything?
It's interesting. I didn't find myself too attached to the ways of 5e. Like, I definitely had some things memorized. Like, this is how spells work. This is how um long rest versus short rest work, and what you get back on those and what you don't. How to roll your dice to get health points back. That kind of stuff. I think the most jarring thing for me was probably the well, one of the things that took me a while to get a hang of was the saves, because now it's reflex, fortitude, and will. And just in the
Hmm.
beginning, I could not remember that for the life of me. Um, and there's still definitely moments of, okay, what am I supposed to do for this check? Secret rolls, I think that's what they're called, or secret
Yep,
checks,
secret
something
checks.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, secret checks were also something new. When it was mentioned, I was kind of like, oh, how does that work? Oh, so we don't get to see
Which honestly I
what
love.
we roll. I kind of like it. I
It
think it
helps with the
adds like
role
a
play.
really fun element of surprise. And yeah, like Ori just said, it helps with the role play. It keeps you on your toes for sure. But it's also like I find like at least with the secret checks, it helps the believability. Cause like if your DM is telling you like, hey, here's what you just work with that. You don't have to wonder like, oh crap, this number means I gotta play it dumb or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice. Honestly, I didn't find it too different because my spells all work the same. At least in terms of like you gotta get within distance, you gotta get within range, you gotta be able to touch, stuff like that. Um, the one thing I really like with the change in spells is critical successes versus critical failures and the whole range of that. That is such a fun concept and just gives so much more meaning to the dice you're rolling and the number you get. I absolutely love that addition because now it's more than just higher number, lower number. Now it's, oh, if it's a high number, you're doing some good damage, you know?
Yeah, the
So
degrees of success.
the degrees of success, yes.
Yeah. That is
The
really fun.
official term.
It is really nice to be able to call something a crit that's not solely literally only luck. It
It
is.
makes you feel good.
It does.
It
It
makes you
does.
feel good and it gives more weight to
But
the higher numbers.
yeah, Del Porto Secrets Check is solely something where the DM rolls the dice and you tell them your modifier. So you don't get to know the number at all. And all
Yeah.
that does is that, like a good example would be stealth, right? If you're doing stealth, the DM would roll it. You would tell them my stealth is +8, and then that's it. That's it. And then either they end up seeing you or they don't, right? It's not only it, right? Like if because the idea of that is the idea that especially in something where like if I'm trying to get information out of somebody, right? And that's a secret roll. The DM rolls. They might tell me. They might. So on like a regular failure, I don't get any information. On a success, I get some information. Critical success, even more information. But on a critical failure, they'll tell me wrong information.
Yeah.
The DM will
But they won't
lie.
tell you it's
Yeah, but
wrong
you have
information.
no idea because you have
That's the
no idea
thing.
what you rolled. So
But
it's
if
very
you knew
interesting.
what you rolled, you could met it. Like let's say you were playing original 5e.
Yeah.
If you saw that roll and you knew it rolled low, you're like, okay, so what the DM's telling me is completely false. Like you
It's
can
easier
metagame
to
a little
metagame.
bit.
Yeah.
So
Whether
it really
purposefully or
avoids that problem.
accidentally.
I think everyone subconsciously does it to at least some
Well,
degree.
you feel it, right? I think the example
Yeah.
is like you can feel it when you know what the role is, right? My favorite moment so far is that we were playing Pathfinder. I think it was our second session ever, right? A Pathfinder ever. And it was our first secret check, and it was about literally all of us trying to what is sense motive, which is essentially insight on this character who was Carl, the kobold. And so I'm sitting there waiting to see, because Dylan, the DM, is like going down the line, like, okay, like Corey, you think this, Miss Molly, you think this, Aloria, la la la. And I'm like waiting for the one person to get it different, right? So I'm in suspense sitting here. Oscar. But I'm in suspense sitting here, like, if somebody gets a different answer, what does that mean, right? Like, because they could have rolled really high and everybody else rolled like shit, or we could have rolled great and they could have rolled like shit, but you don't know. We're doing good, Oscar. It's a good night.
Very good, Oscar. Actually, Ori, to add on top of what you said, you called it sense motive instead and likened it to insight, because it basically is. I'd say that's like, if we're gonna talk about what was most jarring to me, probably the different names. Like
I 100% agree.
I'll still say stuff like, I want to insight that person,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, you can sense motive. I'm like, oh yeah, it's called something different now.
Yeah,
Oops.
we're definitely not in the the no apostrophe, Oscar, because Mars the planet doesn't have an apostrophe.
Mars like the planet. There you go.
Mars is single. It's it would be Mars
on that kidney for a very long time. Mars is single in a lot of ways, actually.
Yeah, Mars. Marcy is cute though.
I have been called a whole slew of names. Funny enough, yesterday, a quick brief story. I was in a queue line trying to get something, and they kept writing my name with an N. I guess because it's right next to the M, like maybe their thumb just kept slipping, but it happened 3 times in a row. And it's not like consecutive back to back. It was, I went to this store, I left, I came back an hour later. I went to the store, left, came back 2 hours later, went to the store a third time, every single time. And it was a different person taking my name every time. Always got the N. Always got the N. I don't know why. I guess my name is just really challenging.
I don't know. I always think my name is challenging, and then everybody is like, no, I spell it right, and it's like, oh, okay. That was not my childhood, but now I guess everybody knows that. Okay.
Why can't you justify me struggling with it in elementary school?
It was more like, the funny thing is that my name is more commonly a guy's name. However, there is like a feminine version of the name that's spelt differently, but mine is spelt the guy's name way. And so it's constantly like asked, like, oh, is it spelt this way? And it's like, yeah, no, you're right. But all that means is that anytime I go to a store with like little keychains or like mementos that have like your name on it, my name will never be in the section that has like the quote unquote like feminine thing, right? Like, so if there's 2 keychains, right, and one is like a Swiss Army knife and the other one is like a flowery hippie thing, my name will not be on the flowery hippie thing, but it will be in the Swiss Army knife, right? So that's my life. But yeah, I would say that the 2 hardest things about moving to Pathfinder 2e, bless you, are the new wording, right? the
Yeah.
the non the non D&D
Def-
wording.
Definitely the change in terminology. I found the most, because whenever Dylan was like, make me a will save, I'm like, what the hell is that? And
See,
where is it on my sheet?
the saves didn't get me. It's the things like sense motive, like
Mm.
avoid detection or something, avoid notice, all those sort of
Oh
things.
yeah, void notice. That's another big
Those
one.
those are like the ones where it's like, because there's actually the reason for this is there's actually like it's a specific action that you're taking that has specific rules, right? It's not
Yeah.
just I'm hiding, I'm doing a specific thing that involves stealth, right? I'm not only trying to see what this person is, like I'm specifically doing the thing. And then, oh, then nice and easy for you, Deathport. I knew the will, the fortitude and everything. I knew that came from third edition. And then the other hardest thing is that I don't know how you're going to be playing this, like virtual tabletop or whatever, Delport. I hate with a passion the Roll20 character sheet for Pathfinder. And the
Oh
sole
yeah.
reason for this is two reasons. And because Mars, I don't know if I told you, I told Dylan, but I think I know why you had such an issue with all those incorrect spells. And now this is
Well,
why. No. I think
I
I
think
know
I
why.
know too, but I want to hear your reasoning.
Okay. So the first thing that I hate about it is that it feels like there's no place to put all the information you need. And
Mm.
then the second the bigger thing is that, so in Pathfinder, ah, very nice. We've briefly looked at Foundry because it's supposed to be incredibly good for Pathfinder 2e, right? Like it's supposed to be like epic for it, but
Mm.
Dylan is not yet willing to pay the $50 for it or whatever it is. Um, but we'll see. Honestly, it probably will happen eventually, if I'm being honest. Um, that just seems like our future.
Yeah.
Because then I can put all the items onto it and have that be paid stuff. But
Woohoo!
where was I going with this? Oh,
You were
so
talking about,
the way actions work in Pathfinders, you have
yeah.
three actions, a reaction, and that's it, right? So you have three actions. So certain spells cost more than like one action, right? Some cost two, some cost three, some cost one, two, three, depending on what things you want to happen, and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Like if you're
Now,
doing an AoE effect, it might be 3
on
actions. If
roll
you're doing
20,
touch, it might be 1.
when you open the settings of the spell in order to put the information, like what it does, the heightened abilities, freaking to hit, making it roll, all that sort of stuff. When you put that information
Yeah,
in there,
important stuff.
prerequisites, all this sort of thing. The thing that you don't put in at that stage is how many actions it takes. That's
Mm-mm.
not where you put it in. You have to then go out of the edit the spell thing, and then right next to the main spell, which is nice and easy to see when you're looking for it, is where you put in how many actions it takes. So Mars and our other player who plays Aloria, both seem to end up having the issue where a lot of their spells said they were one action and weren't. And I think that what happened is that while putting in these spells, not, going through everything and filling it all out, they did not see a place to fill out the amount of actions, forgot about it, just closed it, and it defaults to one action.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not see the area for that. And what's interesting is, at least with Roll20, there's a there's a drop down menu. Okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
have the name of your spell, um, and unless you like collapse that drop down, like then you get all the detailed information and stuff. But then next to it in another column, it tells you how many actions, and literally all my spells were set to 1. And I realized it too late. It actually came back to haunt us for one of the boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I was so disappointed at that too. So I was like, damn, that was a really good finisher, and now it's just not canon. Or, well, it was canon, but it wasn't a finisher. So
Yeah.
that was unfortunate. Um,
Speaking of choice
so
paralysis,
I
though,
would
I'm in choice
also
paralysis
say,
right now.
though, that's interesting that you bring up the issue with spells, because one of the things I found, so preparing spells is a little different. Um, both in Pathfinder and if you're using the Roll20 website.
Well, Delport probably is okay with preparing spells because I believe that was a 3E or 3.5E thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Delport. But you could talk about the Roll20 part, of course.
Well, with the Roll20 part, so I really liked how 5E preparation of spells. Why do I keep calling it that? But you know what I mean. I really liked how it did because all you do, there's a little circle next to your spell. You click it, it turns red, it's filled, you know it's prepared. That was very handy, very useful. I could tell at a glance what I had, what I didn't. With the Roll20 Pathfinder 2E, it's a little different. There's not really a place to put prepared spells. So you have your amount of spells you can have prepared. I'm allowed to have 3 first level, I believe. And it works differently there too. So like instead of preparing 3 separate spells, I could prepare 1 spell and then I could prepare a second spell twice, and that gets me to my 3. So that's a little different. And that I don't mind. It's just really hard to keep track of what you have and what you don't have. The way I started using it was there was a section on the page that had like 1 out of 1, kind of like I'm not even sure what it's for, actually. I'd have to open it again and see. But I've been using that to keep track of what I have prepared and not. Because otherwise, I can't tell at a glance. And even now, I can't tell at a glance because it's a tiny, tiny number that I got to search for through the list. So that one was a little like, not my favorite, to be honest. I think you're a spellcaster as well, Ori, right?
Yes, but I'm not a prepared caster.
You don't prepare. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately only you prepare. Both Aloria and I are spontaneous casters. But I have a lot less spells than both of you. Right. I only have 5 cantrips and I only have 1. Well, now at level 2 I think I have 2 first level spell slots. But that's it. 90% of my ability is buffing follow my Eidolon or buffing / debuffing, you guys are the enemy. That is and so there's like it's protecting myself and allowing follow to kill things. Like that is my skill set right now. I'm very upset because I have this spell, which is a really cool spell. It's called Schadenfreude, right? And if you know what Schadenfreude means, it definitely is that vibe. And what that vibe is that if I was targeted by an enemy's attack that caused me to make a saving throw, and I not fail, but critically fail that saving throw, then, as a reaction, I can cast this spell and make them incapacitated for laughing at me so hard.
Oh, that's unique.
Yeah. So I really, really, really want to use it, but I'm too epic and haven't critically failed a thing yet, a check yet.
Damn.
So I know, it's very sad. I have to be worse at something. I'm very annoyed. I was pacing our full marshal in AC for a while now, but he just upped it to higher than me, and I'm very upset. How dare he?
Rat. Boiled yet again.
Boiled yet again, indeed.
Poor Ori.
I gotta say, with both you coming over today, Mars, and this being today, my schedule is weird.
Oh, I keep thinking today is Thursday.
Oh yeah, I keep having to remind myself.
It isn't.
Tomorrow's Wednesday, and we're good. But yeah, speaking of choice paralysis,
busy day. Jeez.
I have choice paralysis on how I want to design and follow because I want all the cool things, and it's great.
I'd say that counts Bart starter.
Yes, definitely Bart starter.
Excuse me.
Trying to bamboozle you? I'll never bamboozle you, PCM. Though it would be funny if you end up playing Pathfinder, right? Is everybody here gonna move to Pathfinder 2e? I mean, that would be pretty funky. That would be pretty funky.
The loyalty? Maybe.
But yeah, I'm trying to figure out follows design, and I'm on Pinterest, and that was a bad decision because everything looks
Uh-oh.
fucking epic, and I just cannot. It's pain.
Why? Why the heck did you do that?
Because I had a bunch of cool inspiration on here that I had pinned, and now I'm sad.
Aw.
Because I guess I should stop trying to. I was trying to do it him in a pose, but I should probably just draw it in a way for like reference and then get to the pose part. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably a better idea to do.
I
Not
see.
bardic ones. It's Bard Starter. I'm a summoner in Pathfinder, and so I have a summon which is called an Eidolon, and he is a what is called a devotion phantom. But essentially, he can look like whatever the fuck I want. And now, because I have all this power, it's very difficult to make him look like whatever the fuck I want because I want him to look like everything at once, and I can't do that. And that's where I'm at. And it's like, oh god, please, let me.
The struggle is incredibly real.
It is.
What
I
are
see
you
Delport. I
drawing?
see Delport. I haven't really gotten there yet, Mars. I was trying to do. It's trying to be follow.
Uh,
But how we're getting there, I don't know yet. I have to figure out his shape. Oh, of course, PCM. We have been chomping at
oh,
the bit.
absolutely. And I must say, PCM, thank you so much for waiting until I got here. I feel so honored.
I see Teleport. It'll be fun. Do you have a
Mm.
specific sort of vibe though, Delport, about
Yeah,
systems?
anything in particular that you prefer? Any, stuff you don't
I
like
see
that you'd
PCM.
rather avoid?
Because I'm definitely in the
Ah,
solid. I
spoken
want
like a true
fantasy.
storyteller, PCM.
Okay, what shape do I want from follow?
Hmm. Well, he's definitely a bit of a doggo.
I keep calling him a doggo because I definitely want him to be not bipedal, the majority of the time.
Hmm. Yes, no Pokemon bipedal animals in this one,
It's
please.
just not. I don't know.
Just tape the front paws to the ground. Super glue them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Bart Starter. Her Eidolon has definitely done some cool stuff up to now.
It's more
It,
just like
I think
imagine.
it's more just getting an idea of a shape.
I
Like you
I
gotta have a shape in mind,
I'm
right?
I'm yeah, I'm kind of so essentially it's like I want him to have all the super cool things. Yes, I do believe that is right, PCM. I want to have all the super like antlers and feathers and fins and cosmic shit and like I'm looking at my freaking chimera board on Pinterest and it was the worst decision I could have ever made because everything looks
Uh-oh.
epic as hell. And it's like pain
Sorry, why'd you do that?
because I wanted inspiration, but I'm
That was
also
a
in the
horrible
like
decision.
I don't want it to just be like a dog shape. Like I'm kind of like I don't know. It is called a
Hmm.
devotion phantom, so it's ghostly. So it is in the occult realm, which is essentially eldritchy vibes and stuff. I want him. I want him to be cool. So my baby is like antlers. Here, let's look at my Pinterest board together and show you what I like, and
Yes.
then you can see what I want. Uh, let's move it to uh, where is it? This one, I think. Yeah. Oh, we got so much. Everybody started talking now. All right, Mars shows up and everybody starts talking. More
Oh,
death. It's a
I
cult.
feel so honored, you guys.
So it's like tentacles and that sort of thing. But honestly,
Oh,
this is my vibe here with all these chimeras. This is the image I've been using for him. Is this finned sort of creature with arms? However,
it's
I really would
quite
prefer
lovely.
him to have more than the normal amount of legs. At least
Mm.
6 legs, in my opinion. I
Oh,
want him to have a
totally.
really long tail. Like, this is super cool. This freaking, like, it's made out of water thing with the crystals. Like, honestly, that's a vibe. But, like, also, like, I love feathers and shit and
It's like
antlers.
half lemur, half dog.
You know, like, this is epic. You know, it's just like, I don't know what shape I want it to be yet. And that's where I'm
Mm.
at. And I think it's gonna be kind of like a dog shape, but it's just kind of like, I'm also in the like, it feels like a cop out, Ori. Like, what are you doing?
Like, no, you can't go that easy.
Yeah, oops.
The
All right.
artist in you won't allow it.
Yeah, so fantasy Delport. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's why I was like, I don't, originally I was like, I really don't want to do different systems, right? I was kind of set in my ways, but it turned out that it was really just, I just want high fantasy. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want, I'm not, we tried Lancer,
you
that's all
you just
mechs.
didn't want
I
robots.
don't want robots. I'm not, like, space fantasy is okay. Honestly, like,
It's
Warhammer
fine.
40K, not my vibe. Age of Sigmar, hell yes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
This is where it needs to be crazier.
Well, it looks like Delport has quite the list. Cortex, 2D20, Chronicles of Darkness 2, Genesis, Forged in the Dark, Powered by the Apocalypse, and the Microscope. I gotta be honest, I am such a noob. I've never heard of any of these.
I've not heard of any of them either. No, I've
Oh,
heard of
really?
Forged in the Dark. I've heard people have talked about Forged in the Dark.
Okay.
I'm not, Powered by the Apocalypse sounds familiar.
It sounds
Never
interesting.
split the party, PCM. Never split the party. I know you guys split
No,
the party all the time.
why? Stop splitting the party.
Legs that would have a leg on them.
Damn
Legs
it.
on legs? Okay, so like a tree branch legs. Centaur body type, but with
Ooh.
millipede instead of horse. See, it's the I don't want him to be human-y, right?
Mm.
So I don't want there to be that extra section, I guess.
Okay, what about so you're a mushroom farmer. Are there any particular
That's the other
insects
thing.
that like to hang out on
Let
mushrooms
me look into his
that you
mushroom.
could use for inspiration?
Insectoid legs and a lizard tail. I see. Well, I wish you luck with finding games for all of them, Delport. Because that's the hardest part, usually. Especially on games that aren't, like, super big.
Popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you seem to be good at that, so I don't think you'll have any trouble. Okay. Let's
Okay, so
look
what
up
are
the
Moonpaw and
mushroom.
Neppy up to?
And he
Also,
has to have glow in
Ori
the
Ori
dark.
told you guys about me signing the contract, right?
Oh,
Molly
yes, I
signing
did.
the contract. Okay. Yeah, feel free to roast me if you thought that was a good move or a bad move.
Yeah, bioluminescent properties.
Ooh, insectoid legs on a long lizard tail, but the upper body is bird?
Bird. See, I do like feathers.
Ah, yes, the sounds of screaming and conflict, always a good sign. Can't go wrong with it.
Okay, really quick side tangent because I was looking at the mushroom that his name is based off of, and
Mm-hmm.
it says, while this mushroom is not editable, it is reputably mild tasting, and eating it will result in vomiting, which generally occurs 30 minutes to 2 hours after consumption and lasts for several
Oh,
hours.
that is unfortunate.
But it's like, yes, it's not edible. Don't eat it. However, it tastes mild. It has a mild flavor. That's my favorite thing about science.
It has a mild flavor, but it'll make you violently ill.
Yeah, exactly. Uh,
I love science.
goodness.
How could you go wrong when you get such a wonderful explanations such as that?
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous. Beautiful.
Oh. Not the entire fruiting body glows, only the gills do, a phenomenon called foxfire.
Ooh.
So you know what?
That
That's
could
my
be an
jump off
interesting
point.
concept. I was about to say,
Foxes.
I
We're jumping
like
off with a
that.
fox. Then it's not just a wolf. I'm not
Yeah.
just a cop out with making it a true doggo. Um, let's start with foxes. Let you eat it.
It turned into a
Asking for a
constrictor
friend.
snake.
I will
That's
tell
one hell
you.
of a staff PCM.
Ah, it's deadly. It's not even just throwing up, Johnum. It is deadly poisonous. So tell your friend that when they go hunting for it. But I'll tell you where it lives.
Yes, best not to eat that.
I know, I'll tell you where it lives. It is found in southern Australia and Tasmania, but might also be
Mhm.
in India. But definitely southern Australia and Tasmania. So you can tell your friend that.
Yes. You know what? If you need a vacation, there you go. There's your excuse to go traveling.
Okay, it also has the words nest shaped. But I like foxfire. We're gonna start with foxfire. And we're
I
gonna look at
definitely like
cool
Foxfire, not
foxes.
gonna lie.
Ooh, I do like this fox. We'll open that one there. Oh, that's a
Mm.
very, very pretty fox. Okay. You were cute, but too weird. Not too weird. Ooh, Bengal fox. Too cute. Not weird enough. And then you start
See, it's
getting
gotta
the
be
big.
just the right amount of weird.
See, I'm not in it for the Phoenix fox because they're really cute, but they're not what I'm here for. You know?
Mm.
The big ears. Oh, well, okay, that one, I take it back.
Oh, have you found
I
something you
found
like?
the bat-eared fox.
Oh, I think they look super cute if you're talking about the one I think you are.
I probably am. This one reminds me of a fossa, the crab-eating fox.
Ooh.
That one was almost a coyote.
Oh, it's like fighting a Voltorb PCM.
Ah, the worst. The mushroom is called the ghost mushroom. It's Omphalos. I opened way too many tabs. Omphalotus nidiformis. It's the ghost mushroom, the ghost fungus. All right, Johnum. So you say, to each their own on your friend. That's all I'm gonna say. You know it works, I guess, in your favor in the end, right? Because you only gotta avoid their exploding. Well, I guess if you kill them first, then that's a problem. Then that's not really
Hmm.
self. Well, I guess it is self destruction. That's what the Voltorbs call it, isn't it? Yeah. So all this means is that audio enjoys self destructing imps.
Yep, there we
Yeah, I
go.
see. So you wanted to kill them from afar. That's definitely the trick. All right, now I'm looking at foxes here. Which fox do I like the best? This one's very cute. It's got like a Siamese cat vibe. I really like this one a lot, so we're gonna put this
Mm.
one in here.
I am so dang curious.
It gives me Pokemon vibes. I don't know.
Ooh. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there were a Pokemon based on that. Oh, hey, PCM, two birds, one stone. You found the head cleric.
Hold on. Oh, I thought it was a hawk, but it was just a guinea fowl. So, not
Ah,
not feeling it. If this fox took down a
they,
hawk, that was going up there.
mm, they tricked you, unfortunately.
They did.
That's just cruel.
The Bengal fox looks very funny with its ears back. We will, of course, take into account the bat-eared fox. Oh, okay. I also have a very specific fin thing that I want. No! Very sad. PCM, I might have asked you this before, but have you heard of Dungeon Neshi? Because if you haven't, you need to. But I'm very certain that the first time you ever talked about Neshi, Neffy, I told you about this. But I just
There's
got like
also
the
an
new,
anime
yeah,
coming out.
I just got like the next manga novel, and I was just like, need it. Well, now I gotta look it up, frickin' Delport. Hold the phone. What is this?
At the very least, you got them all in one place, PCM.
Oh, okay. I know this artist. I know this artist. Someone else showed me the art from this before too. They are wild. Definitely really cool. No, I'll get the picture of the mushroom, and I'll put it in here.
No worries, Jamie. You're here now. That's what matters.
No, I think it was of PCM's stream. Jamie's been listening to PCM. PCM streams the game now.
Ooh, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. Okay, I didn't know what you were
Oh, the
talking about,
trickery will
Jamie.
go unnoticed. All right, sure.
Does the trickery go unnoticed?
Okay, crab eating fox. Not what I want. And then Centurion fox has literally one picture, and I'm not super vibing with it. Okay, so we're going with one of these. They're very different.
Well, which one do you like the most?
Thank you, Delport. Have a nice lurk. I'm glad you use our lurk. Because I like our lurk. It's funny.
We are more than happy to have a couple lurkers.
Oh, all the time. We appreciate
We
the lurkers.
exactly. We love our lurkers.
Okay. Corsic fox, bat-eared fox.
Hmm.
I
I
think
gotta be honest, I like the bad-eared.
really, see, I think I'm gonna have to choose the Corsic fox because it gives me a better base to start with, right?
Okay, okay.
And then I can
It's
go
not so
ham from
overly
there.
stylized that you could do what you want.
Yeah,
I see.
I like their face, like they're long, kind of small, but I like the fur on them. I don't know.
I say go for it. If you like it, you like it.
I'm just looking at more pictures of them. Oh my god, when it's a baby, it has really big ears.
Oh my gosh, please show. Please show.
Uh,
You can't just say something like that and not show
I'm
us.
showing it. Neffy does deserve a good cry, but I also hope Neffy didn't have to cry in the first place, Jamie.
Adorable.
I know. It's so cute. Little baby.
Look at the little face.
Okay, well
Okay,
now look
that
at the bat
that
ear
made my
fox and we'll
night.
see.
I needed that. Now I have the strength to get through tomorrow. Thank you, Ori. Do it for the baby fox.
The bat-eared fox just has such a smushed face. It's kind of wild. I'm not
It
here for
does.
the smushed face, if I'm being honest.
It depends on if you like the smoosh or not. If
My
the
goal
smoosh
is to
just
have
ain't
him
your
follow,
thing, then
be able to sort of unhinge his jaw like a snake.
mhm.
So I feel like I'm gonna have to pass on the bat-eared fox.
Uh, maybe another day, little guy. Maybe another day.
Again, we can have that be something in Outcast if somebody wants that.
Gotta put in the request.
Oh my god. All right. I hope it all works out. I want Monty
Here's
to
hoping.
propose. I want him to
Oh,
propose.
I do too.
The bat-eared fox, Jamie.
As like a background character.
Yeah. So there's always the background characters options for literally everything. And so that is what I want to make sure we can have. Did I do a stupid? I
I
did.
don't know.
I did.
Did you?
Boop. I did. I fixed it. Okay. No, I didn't keep enough pictures up of the fox.
Ah, man. More references needed.
Sometimes it just, I don't know. Sometimes the vibes just ain't happening and I don't know why.
It
All
can
right.
be the case sometimes.
Let's look at fox anatomy. Oh, I like this pose. Oh, but that one's good too. Hmm. Oh. I saw one yawning and it opened its mouth very, very wide, which is very nice.
Hmm. That too
Oh.
sounds adorable.
This is nice. Don't you love when people make detailed diagrams?
Oh, always.
That's
I'm
all that
looking
I
at
needed.
one right now.
Yay, she's up! Vanessa lived! Woo!
Thank God.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I would have
I
lived.
woulda
Does Monty
died.
immediately get down on one knee? Oh no, he just hugs. I'm okay with this. This is good.
Time and place for everything, Ori. Maybe not as soon as she wakes up. That's a
Yeah,
bit
exactly. Jamie
much.
knows what I want. Jamie knows what I want.
But let her process
Speaking
being
of
part of the
Jamie,
living world again.
I was yelling at Mars earlier because Mars came over today for our anime day, and Mars introduced me to this new anime that like it's not new, but it's one I haven't seen, and it's called Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited, right? I think that's the name of it. And
Yes, in
it
Japanese, Kubo
has the
PG.
two most beautiful main male characters that I have seen in a very long time. I love them too much, and I yelled at Mars for keeping these men from me for so long. They're
I I
amazing.
am
I
ashamed.
can't believe she
I have
did this to
deprived
me.
Ori for so long. I gotta be honest, I
That's
kind
very
of
true,
forgot
PCM.
it
I am.
existed until I found all the fan fiction I had of it. And then I
I
was like, oh yeah, that show was good. Did it stick the landing by the end? And I was like, you know what? I think I did. I think it did. This is worth showing.
and then it's like, Mars, how could you do this to me?
Oh, the freaking drip in
It's
that
they're
show.
both
The
everything I wanted.
style.
They have
It's
inspired
so good.
my desire to make a detective comic in the future. Oh god, I hit my desk. I'm too excited.
Oh, I got a kitty crawling all over my laptop now, so we're both having problems.
Issues.
At least my problem is cute. No, no,
Mars
don't
is doing
step
Dylan
on
a
my.
solid. No. See. What you don't understand, and I actually told Mars this as well, is that every, what's the word? Fictional man that I am like fawning over is just 90% Dylan. Like it's
Yeah.
it's 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 not something that I try to have, but he's just.
Ori has a type.
I have a type, and it's lucky for Dylan. It's Dylan. So. So honestly, every time it's just like, damn, wouldn't Dylan look good in that suit? I literally can't.
Okay,
I think the
so
farthest
which
one.
one embodies it more? Haru or
No,
Daisuke?
see, this is the problem, right? Dylan is the best qualities of both of them, right? Like, get yourself a
Mm.
man that can do both, right? Dylan is Daisuke, but with Haru's like vehement love for justice, and he can dress as both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
I see,
the
I
drip
see.
can be either or, and so it's like, damn, like I said, get yourself a man that can do both.
That's the goal. I mean, always.
They head back home so that Monty can cook her a nice welcome back to life meal, and they can by the candlelight.
Uh,
They can.
Oh, but more importantly, it's lore
It's
time.
lore time.
That
Backstory, as
that
I
is
said
very important.
in the episode today. Oh my
Ah,
god,
so damn good.
so damn good indeed. So he's very fluffy here.
Mm.
And we got the leggies.
I think Dylan has
Dylan cosplay when?
cosplayed once or twice.
I have only. Dylan has cosplayed twice. Like true cosplayed twice. Um he's definitely like dressed up as costumes before, but not as like things as like well, he was Solaire once, but I think the like he definitely like for Halloween like dressed up and everything. The truest
Oh yeah,
cosplay he ever did was like we went to Comic-Con once and um he was Invincible from Invincible,
right.
and
That's the one I'm thinking of.
that's the one like what I would call like full on true cosplay where I like made the whole
Mm.
outfit and everything and we like went to a convention. Otherwise, he did dress up as Greg from Over the Garden Wall for Halloween once, and I was Wirt. And honestly, I think he was very good cosplay there. Um, to be Daisuke, it would be very easy. I mean, he just needs a like a suit, like a very specific tie, I guess, But
Very specific
that would
tie.
be it. Again, he could probably do Haru pretty easily as well.
Haru literally has Hotsun's color palette.
He does. It's great.
He
I
just
mean,
he snatched it.
yeah, it really is. Yeah. Um, we can ask if Dylan's okay with it, but I have a picture of Dylan as Invincible from Invincible standing next to a essentially life-size statue of Invincible from Invincible, and they're like twins. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like
Damn.
like they're like twins. One, that
Good
means I
job on
did
that
very well in the
costume.
costume, but two, Dylan already kind of looked like Invincible, so he had the hair already and
Oh,
the
he
like the
did.
body
He
type,
definitely
so like
did.
it worked out. Um,
Did and does. Did
yeah,
and
yeah,
does.
yeah. Um, that's the big thing. No, see, unlike Mars, who Mars like does the cosplay for herself and then wears it, right? Dylan has no desire to make his own cosplay. However, he is more than willing 90% of the time to wear cosplay with me, right? Like, but that means that I have to make, and he's more than willing to like sit there and take it, right? Because like he had to stand while like pinned things onto him in like the body tight, suit for Invincible, right? Like he'll stand there and do it, but he's not sewing anything, he's not building anything, and that's not because he necessarily doesn't want to, but he has a very specific set of skills and most of them don't translate directly into cosplay. um so he just has very little desire to do any of the work. A unicorn fused to a devil horn. Okay, this is
Oh,
wild,
that's
PCM.
a
we're going
concept.
we're going crazy. Yeah, I would agree. Never ever ever use it. Never ever ever use it.
No.
Never
No,
ever
no, no.
use it. Okay, let's try to give Jamie the most accurate description of Dylan solely by characters, right? And then we could do ourselves, right? This is fun.
Okay.
Literally start with Invincible. Again, I think
Mhm.
90% of his look is just straight in Invincible. Um, is there any other character I can think of, or you can think of, Mars, that looks as much like
Hmm.
Dylan as Invincible? However, he does wear glasses. He always wears glasses. Unlike Invincible,
Does.
he wears glasses. Um,
Yeah. Uh Sometimes
Honestly,
he's got that anime protagonist vibe going for
he
him.
does. He does. He's got the anime
And I think
protagonist
that's helped
smirk down.
by the glasses.
It is helped by the glasses. But honestly, I think Invincible is the most accurate aesthetic character to Dylan.
I would have to agree.
Like, I don't think there's much else that's like, this is Dylan. However, a picture um if Invincible was Italian instead of Asian, right? Like half Italian instead of half Asian. That's the only difference. Um
Mm,
yeah, I think that's the best one. See, the problem
okay.
is I know much less of like I can't picture a character that like I specifically embody. Mars was
Mm.
very close to Penny Nichols from Ace Attorney.
Very close.
Very
It
close.
was almost spot on. Just take away the
Yeah,
freckles.
no freckles.
No freckles. Sadly, I was not blessed with freckles.
No freckles. And
But
not
the
round
hair,
glasses, right?
the
Like classic
glasses.
glasses. They're not big round glasses.
Well,
Classic
I am
glasses.
replacing them soon, so
Oh,
we'll
well,
see
we'll
how
see if we
I
choose there.
actually, guys, I looked at my glasses today, and when I bought them, there was a design on like the handles. Um,
Oh yeah?
that was very nice before, and I just noticed one side is completely missing. So I got one side with a design, the other side is just a silver piece, and then I got a crack in the
Oh my
handle. So I
god.
was like, I need new glasses.
Well, that is up to
So
debate,
bad.
PCM. I'm assuming they all have to they depend on like the characters. Penny Nichols from Ace Attorney. She was the assistant in the Steel Samurai arc.
Yes.
Well, I assume it's like their backstory, right? Like Xavier, is talking about like his god, right? And Darius. So, I would assume all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Okay. Be careful when you look up Penny Nichols because apparently there is a human with the name Penny Nichols that does OnlyFans.
Type
Oh,
in Penny Nichols
oh,
Ace
I did. I
Attorney.
did. All right. This is
Really?
Penny Nichols.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Mars doesn't dress like Penny Nichols though. No freckles. Mars doesn't dress like Penny Nichols.
No. No, no.
Hair does vary in length. Sometimes she hacks it off. Not that short, but sometimes she cuts it
I
off.
I
Sometimes she
am
grows it
going
out.
to hack it off in 2 weeks.
Um,
It will happen.
so yeah. Very, very that's the closest character I can think of right off the bat for you.
Mm. I'm trying to think if there's any other character that comes close. I don't think so. I definitely like
Yeah.
I I don't want to give myself the girl next door vibes. Like I don't want to say, "Oh yeah, that's me," but like I'm kind
All
of
right,
plain
PCM.
looking to
Be
be honest.
cheeky. Keep your secrets. The
If
meme.
if I'm not in cosplay, I'm pretty plain looking, honestly.
Oh no, Dylan complimented your fashion the other day, Mars.
What the hell was I wearing?
Just in general, he thinks you always look very fashionable.
I've been living in sweatshirts the last few days.
Well, when you go out, when you like hang, I mean, how many times have you seen Dylan, right? But like when you
Okay,
hang out
that's
to like
fair
play
enough.
group
Fair enough.
stuff, he thinks you're very fashionable.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'll just keep going with the jean and night shirt combo.
um, what's a character that
But
I
hey, if
look
someone says
like?
I got the trip, awesome. Oh, there is one for you.
Oh yeah, is there one for me?
Mm, what? Oh, I can't remember.
Oh no,
I tried to remember.
I'm trying to think of like a character.
I mean, anything's on the table. Books,
Oh
video
yeah.
games, TV shows.
Uh, it's always kind of weird without one being like that exactly is me. That is like, like I don't know.
Yeah, There's definitely not one that's exactly you, but there's got to be someone that comes close.
Trying to think. Let me recall what this person looks like. Maybe. I'm not. My hair isn't as short as Suki's from Avatar.
Ah, Suki Avatar. Oh,
My hair's not that
not
short.
yeah, and I wouldn't say you look like Ty Lee. Well,
Oh,
maybe
Ty
it was.
Lee.
Well, definitely not the hair. Maybe in the face though.
Well, I definitely don't have her hair. She has way too much hair. I don't
So
have
much
that much
hair.
hair. I don't have that much hair.
But I could kind of see it in the expression, like very open,
Yeah, and I
very
have a
like not
rounder face
afraid
like
to
she
show.
does.
Yeah, exactly. So we take Tylee's face, Suki's hair,
There you go.
boom, there's Ori.
Somewhere between Ty Lee and Suki. That's the only ones that I can think of. Because most of the characters have like there's a lot of characters with like black hair.
Well, see, honestly, that's the funny thing. If you compare us side by side and just took like the surface attributes, like we both have glasses, we both
Yeah.
have the same color hair. I mean, you're taller than me, so
Yeah.
there's
That
that. But we got the same hair and the same glasses, and I think the same eye color, maybe?
mathematically, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Lore accurate. You look like the Rock, Johnum. All right.
You gotta find your sidekick, the Pebble.
it's just yeah. What is it? The Rock is always with what's his name? The other comic guy, Kevin Hart. You have to find your Kevin Hart.
Is he always with Kevin Hart? I thought Jackie Chan was always with Kevin Hart.
I don't know. I know Kevin Hart and The Rock have a hilarious relationship. Yeah. It's hard, JB. It is literally like the only reason I have Dylan's like in my back pocket is because we watched that show, we cosplay it, and it was like exactly him. I do think he could pull off a convincing Phoenix, right? He has the outfit for it.
Oh,
He just
he
doesn't
could be
want
amazing Phoenix Wright.
he just doesn't want to spike his hair.
Hmm. Well, that's where wigs come in.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wear a wig either.
Ah, man.
I think he would for Edgeworth, but I don't think he would for Phoenix. He doesn't want to be Phoenix as much, even though he's very like Phoenix.
Well, see, the trick is you got to make the cosplay worth it.
Exactly.
I was like, I get the feeling he really wants to be Edgeworth.
He does. He really wants to be Edgeworth.
'Cause
No,
he's
Dylan's favorite cosplay is couples cosplay. However, he doesn't want to do any like gender swap, which makes me sad because I like guy characters and all I want to do is dress as the guy characters.
okay.
But
I gotta be honest, guys. I will cosplay girls. I will cosplay guys. I will cosplay pretty much anything. Like if I'm just
it's
like I vibe with this character and I want to be them,
see,
I will be them.
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Dylan won't be like as a girl character. It's more the idea of like I'm trying to think of like an example. Like if there was a couple that we wanted to do as like a couple's character, let's say I was gonna be Sokka, he wouldn't want me to be like the female version of Sokka and he's the male version of Suki, right? He would be,
Oh,
I
I
would
see.
be Sokka to the best of my ability and he would be, Suki to the best of his ability, right?
Oh,
Versus it's
so
like,
he would want to keep the genders the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
I
that would
see.
be
I
more
thought you
the
were
idea.
saying he wouldn't be the
No,
female
it's
Suki. He
more
would
like
want to be a male
it's
Suki.
more like because the biggest thing that I would want to do would be like let's take billionaire a millionaire detective Balance Unlimited, right? Like if I wanted to be Haru and he wanted to and if I wanted to do our couple's cosplay there and it was Haru and Daisuke, right? And so he would obviously be Daisuke. he wouldn't want to do that because it's like if I wanted to be like a female version of Haru, right? Like it's like he's not about that. So we do have a bit of a limiting there, but there's a lot of them to be.
I see.
Just as this
Okay.
Kim Possible for Halloween, beautiful.
Amazing.
Brown hair, brown eyes. I mean that's what Dylan's
Jamie,
got. So
that's the whole point of doing Daisuke and Haru.
yeah, it's very true.
Although nothing's confirmed in canon, but we all know.
It's
We all know.
and Dylan definitely wants to be characters that like he knows, so he would never watch this anime with me. I could see us
I
doing
don't know,
something
that's some good
from.
music. You might be able to convince
I could see
him.
us doing something from Dragon Age Acquisition, Absolution. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Absolution.
yeah.
That show, honestly.
I still need to watch
the
that
problem
one.
is all I don't want to be any of the female. I don't ever want to be a female. I want to be Rosario,
Why?
man. I just want to be Rosario. Give me. I have his hair. It works out too well. Just let me be Rosario, okay? He has the drip. He has the vibe. Just let me be Rosario from Dragon Age Absolution, okay?
So do it.
Oh, we're getting the ship
Oh.
here, PCM. We're getting the
Oh.
ship.
My heart, be still.
That
I hope Monty has some soup waiting for her. I know
He
I'd like
cooked
to
it
come
up.
back to
He
some
cooked
soup
it up. He
after
cooked it up.
coming back from the dead.
Yeah, but the biggest hurdle is that if I was to cosplay ever, it would be I would have to make Dylan's as well, and I'm too extra about it, and he doesn't enjoy buying clothes, so it's
See,
like we have to have a place to go. He wouldn't just
I
cosplay because I wanted to take pictures.
I adore closet cosplays. I love taking things that I either already own or I find for cheap and like doing, I can make this work
Well,
for a
that's what you
certain
and I did.
character. Yeah, well, that's what you and I did for Orin High School Host Club. We also did it for Our Flag Means Death.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I did it for my Power cosplay,
Honestly,
and now I'm planning on doing it for Hotsun, and I do have Milano's cosplay all ready to go. It's just
nice.
I need to film Hotsun first, and Hotsun's jacket is impossible to find.
I
I went to
told you.
Savers and there was nothing, and I was like, no, what do I do?
Well, I have that suit, like cream suit jacket if you want.
I might have to try it next week, to be honest, because I'm
Yeah,
out of
just remind
options.
me. Just remind me.
Because I gotta be honest, Thursday, I'm making me some gloves. That's the only thing I
Okay.
could do.
I'll look at it, Bart Starter. Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of that because I've been talking too much. Is the
Mm,
rabbit? I know the Haru rabbit. I know Haru the rabbit. Beastar season 1, good. Beastar season 2, hate it. Okay,
trash.
that's all
Well,
I'm
would
gonna
you say trash, or was it just disappointing?
Incredibly disappointing. Like
Because
not worth
there's a
watching.
difference between dropping the ball and just being straight up terrible. Promise
No, it's
Neverland
dropping the
season
ball.
2 is straight up terrible.
It's dropping the ball. It drops the ball. It
Mm,
drops the ball because it's good until it fails you, right?
yeah.
Like I'm in it and then it fails you. So just only watch season 1, never watch season 2, not worth it.
Same thing with the Promise Neverland guys. Only watch season 1 and then switch to the manga. Season 2 was so sad
Oh,
and
nephew's
so
trying to make them
bad.
secrets, keeping the secrets. All right, let's look at
Neffy, what you doing, my girl?
Bart Starter's mushroom fiend thing.
Oh, I need to see
Oh,
this.
that's crazy. Damn. I
It's
like how it
in
glows
the
though. That's a vibe.
sketch
The glow's a vibe.
channel.
Yeah, the
I
glow's a
think
vibe.
sketchbook.
It's definitely a cult, 100%.
Oh, that's awesome!
Really, Jamie? Jamie, have you watched it? I don't want to spoil it if you like intend to watch season 2 or something, but if you haven't, I'm gonna go off because it pisses me off. Because it's very
Ha,
simple. It's very
yeah.
simple.
This is Ori's hill that she will die on.
Ah, Monty being confused. It's very simple why I hate it, right? Like, it's very, very simple because the whole premise
Oh,
of the
it made sense
season
when you explained
just
it.
dies.
Gotta be honest, I don't plan on watching it at all.
Well, I'm assuming if you read the manga, then you know everything, so it's not spoilers. Um, in season 2, what happens is that Louis the deer is like doing mafia shit or whatever. I'm like trying to remember exactly what it is. Um yeah, this is season 2. So in season 2, um Legoshi finally finds out who the guy who was killing everybody on in the school is, right? He's this big bear. No, bears are crazy strong. Legoshi kind of gets into an altercation with him and then obviously fails, very injured. He goes and trains with Panda Guy. Now, Panda is also quote unquote a bear, right? But he's a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat and he's very strong. Now, he's, anatomically very special, but he trains Legoshi to be strong without eating meat, which is the whole thing, right?
It's
The
pretty
whole
important.
thing is that Legoshi does not want to give in and go to the black market and eat meat, right? Okay, Jono. Uh, and eat meat, right? Because meat is how the carnivores get like powerful and everything, and it like ups all their stuff. It's like drugs, right? It's the equivalent of, um, you know, um,
I think it was a drug
enhancement drugs,
allegory, to be honest.
right? But um, he like doesn't want to have to do it, and he wants to be able to beat the bear guy. Like he's gonna go fight the bear guy. He wants to be able to beat the bear guy on his own thing. Like it all talks about Legoshi is special. Legoshi's this guy. He goes through this incredibly grueling training for like half the season. That is him being crazy, not eating meat. Panda's guy's like, you've succeeded, my, like my student. Like it's great. You're gonna go. He go fights bear guy, right? Fucking fails real bad. He is having a horrible time. He's getting his ass freaking whooped. Okay? What happens in the end? Dear Louis, right? Dear Louis comes in, and because Legoshi and Louis are like best bros, and honestly, that's a nice vibe. I'm fine with that vibe. Because they're best bros, and Louis has literally trauma of being stock meat as a child to be eaten, um he gives he consents to Legoshi consuming his leg so that Legoshi can beat, yeah, exactly, exactly, Parson. So that Legoshi can beat the bear, and he beats the bear and he wins. And now, while I understand that, well, at least I think I understand that what they're going for is the like, it's okay with consent sort of vibe, I guess. Like he made this relationship to allow. I don't think that was a good ending. They spent so fucking much of that season. Yeah, okay. They spent so much of that season painting this as Lego She's special, Lego She's. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, bug eating does help. Yeah, But it was still not enough, right? It's still not enough. And that's the part that pissed me off, because they painted this whole thing as Legoshi being like cooler than everybody else, like he was special, he was determined, he was
He can
everything.
rise
He can
above.
rise above
He's the
everybody. He was
protagonist.
supposed
He'll
to
be
be
better.
uh like the poster child of like, you don't need to eat meat to be strong, right? You don't need to kill people to be strong. Like that's literally what they're doing. You don't need to kill other people to eat them and be strong, right? And it's like, but you kind of do though. You just have to make sure
But
you have
it,
consent. And it was like,
not the fight. Well, because then, and here's the problem. So I know it's not comic corner night, but to talk about something very briefly
no, exactly.
is
And then he has to
I
eat the meat. Very upsetting.
yeah, no, I've talked so many times about how you can have a character develop in reverse. Like you can have a character kind of start going down a bad path. I'm trying to think of an example, like Yagami, for instance. Like he gets crazier and crazier as the first season goes on, and by the end of the first season, he is beyond hope. Like maybe he had some chance when Elle was alive, but now there's nothing left. But that's the way the story is going. There was never this impression that it could go anywhere else. There was never an impression that Light could be redeemed. The problem with what Beastars did, from what I'm hearing, because I gotta be honest, I never watched it myself, is you wasted your audience's time
Yeah.
because they got invested in the main character's plight. They were rooting for him that he would be able to beat this thing, and the payoff isn't even done in a manner that makes sense.
Good night,
Because at
Starter.
first they were, oh, good night, Bart Starter. It sounds like to me what they were at first showing was him overcoming and getting better and like working.
It was.
And then that's just all undone by one single moment. Like, what's the point of watching the season if all that character development, all that training, all that build-up is thrown out the window?
It's one of those things where it's like,
and what's the point that they're trying to make?
Exactly.
That, oh, try as you might, you won't overcome your instincts, your innate desires. Like, you can't be better than the animal inside you.
What's the end of the plot line, Jamie?
That's a freaking depressing.
I'm pretty sure
lesson.
That's literally where season 2 ended. I don't think there was much more.
And you know what? If that's the lesson they wanted to go with, that's fine. I mean, more power to you. Some stories do go for the, hey, life is life and you gotta deal.
See,
type,
Utopia is better,
lesson.
Johnum, because it turns out that it was nobody's fault except the evil overarching capitalism. Well, it wasn't capitalism,
well,
but you know.
Well, no, the thing with
Corruption.
Utopia is implicit bias. Like, the main character, Judy, is not, like, she has flaws. She is cautious around foxes. She has her beliefs that are instilled in her. She has implicit bias.
Well,
but
yes.
she does work to overcome them. It's just in that scenario, the sheep, the sheep who was trying to become mayor was capitalizing on that fact. Like, oh, come on, you know, they're dangerous. We're the little guys. We gotta stick together. So she was like she was definitely using that implicit bias to her advantage.
Would have eaten the leg. It's more the idea, well, yes, it crushes him, Jamie. I think that was a horrible, like, I did not enjoy that portion of it, in the sense of that while it shows Legoshi's character to a certain extent, it screws up that there was, like, it's just, okay, I gotta say, this can be coming with it, I hate not happy endings.
Ori may be biased.
I hate not happy endings. There's no
biased.
doubt here, and I don't enjoy. It didn't feel good. See, the only unhappy ending that I'm okay with, that I've like watched, was the Devilman Crybaby, right? Because at least it was like makes sense, I guess. But it was
also
just
kind of misery the whole way through. Like, there was never any, oh, there's a happy ending just around the corner.
Exactly, Jamie. I think it was psych in a bad way, though. Right? In my opinion, you know, I don't like bad. I don't like unhappy. It doesn't
sound like they set up a psych moment. It sounds like they were trying to give the lesson, hey, life is life, and sometimes you can't overcome, but you find a way to work with it. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Maybe.
But that lesson might not appeal to some people.
It doesn't appeal to me, because it's very much like you put in.
I can tell.
Because the reason is, it's like I don't need real life in my show. You know, I don't want real life in my show. Why am I watching show I can live real life, right? Because it might hit me harder as well, because the job that I had before this was no, I don't like unhappy endings, PCM. The job that I had before this was literally...
PCM, I only got away with showing her Saibikui Bisco because it had a happy ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the main characters, like, one of them gets maimed, the other canonically dies, but he came back, so I was like, perfect, I could show this to Ori, because it doesn't end
is there a significant amount of more of manga after that, Jamie? Because maybe that's just because I'm only watching the anime, and, like, that's where season 2 ends. Like, that the last episode is, like, of him eating the leg and everything. Like, there's not another episode after that. So, Yeah, okay, so that's why I hate it. That's why I hate it, because it's not over yet, right? Yeah, so it's not over yet. So now imagine that, but that's the end, right? You don't know of anything else coming after that. You don't know of another season coming. You don't know. That is done. That's over and done. You got all of this buildup of he's trying really hard and then he fails. He's crushed and there's no more content, right? And so that's why I hate it. Maybe if there's a season 3, that does come out on anime, I'll watch it. I'm honestly not a huge manga person. I read one manga and that's it.
Hey, if
But
Blue Exorcist can get a sequel how many
yeah,
years later, I'm
that's
sure
so
Beastars
wild.
can too.
That's so wild. It's not even that old, Season 2 is not even that old, so I'm not worried about it if people liked it. But yeah, so it was like, goodness gracious, what is happening with Neffy PCM?
See,
Well, it's
I'll be
actually
honest.
Neff.
I don't mind a sad ending. I like endings that either make
Oh,
me
her voice
appreciate the
says it. I see.
character in a whole new way, like the journey was satisfying, or it's an ending that makes me think. Like Devilman Crybaby was an ending that made me think because everything leading up to it made me think.
It's
It
Vanessa
was
talking.
definitely a
Okay.
blatant commentary on the human condition and human nature, so that was interesting. I'm trying to think of any other quote unquote sad endings I've watched. Like, all right, I'll know a zero. Not exactly the happiest of endings. I mean, yeah, Earth is safe from Mars, but one of the main characters, he's in jail for the rest of his life and he regrets all his actions. He basically had a light Yagami moment. Or I guess a better example would be um a Lelouch from Code Geass moment where it's like he fucked around and found out. He went traitor. He said he was doing it for the good of this one person he cared about, and now he's in jail for the rest of his life. He reaps what he sows. So it's like it's not a happy ending, but it does make you look at the character and think like, wow, what are the possibilities of this? Where could they go from here if the story were to go on? That's where fan fiction comes in.
I see, Jamie. So it might just be me not reading the anime at all and not reading the manga at all and just being like, this is how it ended, and I'm incredibly upset with how it ended because I still feel like seasons need to have it. I think it's a weird place to end the season in the sense of that I think that when you end a season, you have to have some resolution, but I don't think you have to have. I don't think having something that feels like it's a resolution but isn't the end is a good cliffhanger. Okay, they are making season 3. Good night, Johnum.
Night, Johnum.
It's very true, Johnum.
Also,
Good luck.
at PCM, I have a soft spot for I'll know a zero.
Um, but it's the idea that
That's his soul.
um, I'm trying to think of like a good, like a very quick example that I have of like a season ending. Like a season ending should be we solved the main issue of that season. However, oh my god, there's something looming on the horizon, right? Like that should be the vibe. Like maybe we came into more information and now we know that there's a dude behind this dude that we were trying to kill this whole time. Or there's a whole nother thing. The way that Beastars season 2 ends is like it feels finite. Like it feels done. Like there doesn't feel to be like a super like looming thing. No,
That
no, no.
there's
But this
more
is what I'm
to it.
saying. They solved the issue and that was it. Like it didn't feel like there was like more. Like honestly, it didn't feel like a season 3, it didn't feel like I was like needing a season 3. Like it felt like that was the end. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where it's kind of like ugh.
Why am I worried for Neffy now?
We're always worried for Neffy. When are you not worried for Neffy?
I'm always worried for Neffy.
I guess so, Jamie. To me, it more just creates the problem that why did Legacy go through all of that to just mean that it didn't work, and that upsets me.
I'm just kind of along for the ride here, throwing in my 2 cents. I have never watched Beastars, nor do I plan to.
Well,
I've heard an English cover of the opening that slaps, and that's as far as my interaction with the
hello,
series goes.
Grenade. It
Hey,
is.
a grenade!
We'll see if I end up watching season 3. Not because I don't want to, and mostly just in the sense of that I almost watched nothing without watching it with somebody else, and I didn't watch Beastars with anybody. So
Oof.
again, you have that knowledge, Jamie. I don't have that. I don't got that knowledge. I got where I told you, right?
JB,
It
you'd
ends
have
at the
to convince
leg.
Ori to read the manga.
It's definitely not happening. Again, I barely find time to read freaking Dungeon Meshi, like my favorite thing in the world. We're not reading any more manga.
Oh man. I wonder how Vanessa's gonna take that. Holy crap.
I think like the badass that Vanessa is.
I mean, Vanessa is quite the badass.
Mm-hmm. The angry parent voice earlier. I think that's a good
J-
sign that Vanessa ain't
Since
taking no flack.
since you talked
Rolls.
about like an anime that pissed you off, I'm trying to think
Hmm.
of one that pissed me off.
That's how media works, Jamie.
Did I have an anime that like super pissed me off? Because I gotta be honest, I didn't experience The Promised Neverland 2, season 2. I mean, like I heard it was coming out. I watched the first episode, and then I started seeing reviews online that were like, "We're getting nervous. What's happening?" And I was like, "Okay, well
It's
maybe
so
I'll just
funny
wait
you
for
say
it to
that,
come
Jamie.
out so I can binge." And then when it did come out, people were not happy with it. So I was like, "Oh, what's that all about?" I watched all the reviews and I was like, "Okay, no, that's horrible. I can't believe they did that."
It's so funny you say that, Jamie, because I was Dylan and I were watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime on Netflix.
The
And
other big
I
one.
specifically stopped watching it because I was able to pick up on the fact that this was not leading to a happy ending, right? It's a very interesting thing. This could just be me. I gotta say, up until relatively recently, am I giving the amount of thought during watching a show that I have given, right? Honestly, for a very long time, I'm just here for the ride person, and I wasn't thinking particularly deep about anything during the show. All my stuff would be sort of after the show, listening to like theorists and other people talk about it. But with Cyberpunk, we were like a few episodes to the end. You have not here, Grenade. A few episodes to the end, I got the vibe. Like it hit me like a truck that like this is not going down a good path, right? Like it was the episode where after Maine dies, right? And then David essentially becomes the new Maine. That episode, I went, well, fuck. David's gonna die, isn't he? This is what this is foreshadowing. This is very much what this is foreshadowing. That David's gonna go
Yep.
freaking cyber psycho and die. And I was like, I
We're
don't
in
think I could
trouble.
deal with that. I don't think I could deal with that. Felt rushed. Okay, maybe that would have helped me. Again, maybe I just wasn't picking up on it, right? Like to me the whole training thing felt very like shonen, right? Like it felt very like I'm good, I'm better, like, they called him special, like I don't know, all of the signs to me said that like he was going to be cool and overcome it and not have this ending, and that's why it upsets me. But maybe I was just not picking up on it. That's a very possible thing. There's no doubt about that.
There's always the possibility. You never know.
I definitely could have not been picking up on something, because I gotta say I'm definitely very okay. So I was too set on I
Did,
wanted my anime
maybe
to be happy.
did you see it as a fruitless endeavor? Like try as he mimight, he'll never
I
get
see.
there. Was
Interesting,
that your
Jamie. Yeah, the more
interpretation?
he trained, the more he expected him to fail. Wild.
Because there are some stories like
I love
that.
Vanessa PCM.
Vinland Saga is not necessarily like that, but one of the main goals of the protagonist is he wants to kill the guy who murdered his father, essentially. So he ends up traveling with him, doing his dirty work because the guy refuses to fight him until he's on par with him. But every time he goes to fight him, he kind of gets like thrown down. He can't really measure up, but he always gets a little bit closer each and every time. I won't spoil how season one ends because it's absolutely Okay, maybe that's one. Vinland Saga Season 1 did not end happy. In fact, it's more of a prologue, but it does feel like a true
Ah,
season.
that's good character growth, PCM.
It's one of my favorites. Absolutely love it. Um, but it definitely does not end happy. It ends with a major character death, a character you do actually come to like
Oh,
despite what
that's
he
funny.
did in the beginning of the series. And the main character is affected by it, like really affected by it. And it ends on such an interesting note because you have this main death happen, and then you see all of these things that allude to season 2 and everything coming up. And there's this sweeping choir, there's this grandiose crescendo of music. Oh, one of my favorite moments in anime. That's probably one of the first examples I can think of where it's like something I watched did not end happy.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn did it stick the landing that it was happy tears coming out my eyes by the end just because it was so beautifully wrapped up.
But yeah, I might just be a naive watcher, Jamie, because I want it all to be happy. The reason that I watch fiction, the reason that I consume, honestly, literally any media is to escape reality. Not in like an escapism sense, but just in the idea of I live life. I don't need life in my show,
It's like,
okay?
I need a break. I'm gonna tune out for a little bit.
It's like Cyberpunk was honestly I wasn't having a great time watching it even when I was watching it because it was too like this is where capitalism is actually gonna go. Like I like couldn't do it. Like it just
Hmm.
upset me and I like was very unhappy.
See, sometimes that's a problem I have with like either live action shows or
A
even
long
like stuff
time.
like Marvel movies. Because it's
Mm,
like, yeah, real life is inspiring and you could pull a lot from it, but sometimes it's just like that's too close to home. And the fact that they're live action makes it even closer to home because that's
mm.
the reality I live in. It's not like the world of pen, ink, and paper. This is real, you know?
Dang, Jamie.
I don't know if you've ever felt that, Ori.
Again, the biggest one was like Cyberpunk with the payment for medical aid and stuff, and the way it's like you're subscribed to very specific medical aid, and that literally if you don't have the plan we will just leave you to die on the street. And
Oh yeah, it's a
and
full-on
oh,
commentary.
she was doing fine, and then it was like, oh, but you didn't have the plan that allowed us to actually like revive her and make her live. And it was just like that that one hurt me real bad because in America, it's like, oh god, I have never played Cyberpunk in any capacity. Grenade. I have only seen the thing. Um, I knew that it was gritty, but I don't know. I kind of like my heart hopes that all shows are happy in the end. I don't know. Naive hopefulness. Again, I wanted cyber. Okay, my heart wanted Cyberpunk to be a yes, it's dystopian, but we can pull through this together
But
and be
we rise
cool
above
and
and we
like
can make
yeah,
things
and
better.
as like again, I'm a shonen whore, no doubt about this, and it's just like and that like with being pals and everything's good, like we can have overwhelming hope for the future and we can make the difference, and it's like that's what I want because that's what like I want the world to be, right? Like that would be the
Yeah,
ideal is that like you can make a difference and you can feel that way. So that's what I want my out of like my media to do. And that's what a lot of media is. But then it's just like
that's just
yeah,
like
I'm never going to watch a
no
Grenade.
happy ending for
I'm never
you.
going to watch it. I literally like the episode that I was talking about where I stopped watching after that was like I am not having a good time. Like I'm having an unfun time. That's fine, Jamie. Again, like I have had no cyberpunk experience
And
until the anime.
I feel like it's important to clarify here that there's definitely a place for these types of stories. Like you
Oh
say,
yeah.
Jamie, that kind of ending doesn't work in the world of cyberpunk. That
No,
makes
it
perfect sense. It's a dystopia. It is a commentary on real life
I mean,
and
I don't
capitalism.
I never watched Squid Game, but I
It's
would be
just
impressed if it
not
had an
your cup of
ending that
tea,
I would
that's
have
all.
liked. Like I feel like that's sort of
That doesn't make it a
the
bad
vibe, right?
show.
And everybody loved end of freaking Squid Game, right? That doesn't make it a bad show. It to me, the only reason I specifically didn't like the Beastars one, because to me it felt out of left field. At least with Cyberpunk, it was like I felt it coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, then that's not bad writing. That's just not for me, right? Okay.
In theory, Jamie, in theory,
But it's more the idea of like,
from what I hear.
obviously shows don't need to have a happy ending. Dylan loved Cyberpunk Grenade, like Dylan loves that sort of thing. When Thanos won in Infinity War, he stood up at the end of the theater and cheered, "That's how it ends," and was like incredibly happy because he likes when the villain wins. He thinks that's fun, and he enjoys that. And so he's not
I think he
for it.
likes the subversion.
I think he likes the subversion, but also if it's good writing, it's good writing. Like, he enjoys it. I'm not that kind of person, right? And the only reason I like specifically bashed on the Beastars ending was not because that it was a sad ending, was because to me watching it, I felt like it came out of nowhere, right? And that could just be me. I could just not have picked up on it. Versus, like I said, with Cyberpunk, it was like it was there. And then same with like versus like, see, Devilman Crybaby uh really hurt me because I also didn't see that coming, right? I had the same vibe of like, I like, he's gonna win, he's gonna do it, like, yeah, everybody's around him dying, but he's gonna make it through, the world's gonna live. And then it was like,
Oh, I
oh
gotta be honest, I
no.
did not think he was going to live.
Yeah, see, it's probably just like hope in my
Well,
heart.
I mean, it makes sense when you realize the not importance of the story, but like the bigger picture. For anyone who hasn't seen, am I allowed to give spoilers? I don't know if I should, but it's pretty important to this point.
I don't think they
If
showed
I,
that well enough then, Jamie. What spoilers, Mars?
uh, basically who Rio is and why everything in that anime happens the way it
How
does.
long has this one been out?
Since 2016, I
And you're
believe.
fine. Go on. Go ham.
Okay, cool. So, in Devilman Crybaby, what basically happens is there's two guys. One gets corrupted to turn into a Devilman, and I'm simplifying very heavily here. And his friend, whose name is
Ooh, PCM.
Rio, is like trying to quote unquote stop these devils. But then you find out later on that Rio's been kind of playing double agent for a while. His whole thing was to get humanity to fight with the devils and basically destroy themselves. Because it's kind of like, if anyone see the Twilight Zone episode of The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, it's kind of that pattern. They start pointing out the idiosyncrasies of each other. They start trusting each other, and then all hell breaks loose. And that was Rio's whole thing. He wanted to create that chaos. So he and the main character,
I feel
Akira,
like that's
that's his
very
name.
accurate right now, PCM.
Yeah, right. Um, but they end up fighting, and Akira loses, like big time loses. He straight up dies. Um,
Decapitated.
oh, decapitated, Mortal Kombat style,
Ugh,
full on.
pain.
But you find out, I think it was before that, like Rio shows his true form and he's like covered in wings. He is very clearly a fallen angel. The fallen angel. And what happens at the end of the anime is his best friend is now dead. He realizes that he was the cause of this, and basically Rio's purpose in life is to suffer. Essentially, because that's his punishment for betraying God. He is a fallen angel. So he is doomed to repeat the same cycle and kill his best friend over and over. And this was just like
One of
one of the
them.
loops that
Yeah.
we saw. So when you look at it from that angle, when you know the bigger picture that's going on, which honestly gives it some really great rewatch value, because then you start seeing his actions differently. You realize like, oh yeah, there was no happy ending because the purpose is to punish Rio. And Rio can't have a happy ending if Akira's around. Like, if Akira's around, it's a happy ending for him because his friend's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Akira needs to be dead, so Rio is punished.
Yeah.
So that one was just never going to have a happy ending.
Yeah, again, maybe it's just me being hopeful at that point. Because again, Cyberpunk's the only one out of those that I've listed that I can say that I'm like, I felt it coming like a train, you know? Like I
We've
felt it
definitely
coming.
been spoiled by shonen that like push their protagonists to the brink, but then bring them back
And
from
that's
like
what I want, you
precipice
know,
of death,
because it
or like they're only critically injured, but they still come back swinging. And it's like, I love that shit. I absolutely love that because to me, that's having your cake and eating it too. You get to have the angst, but there's no con- excuse me, there's no consequences, like heavy consequences.
I think it's yeah, but as long as they come back, PCM, they have to come back though. They have to come back.
They do have to come back. Saibikui Bisco,
Yeah,
one of the
no,
characters
grenade.
dies, but he is resurrected
But
by the
it's
power of mushrooms.
yeah, that is yeah. Yes, Jamie. But so it's like my idea is that like and so in the one that I'm talking about, right, where Cyberpunk, how I felt it coming like a ton of bricks, right? Like I felt the ending because at the point in that show, I was like I felt bad watching it, right? And now that means that good writing, right? Like that means good writing, right? But why am I like I'm not gonna watch a show that literally makes me depressed. I don't want to feel depressed.
That's what we have
Life can
news
be
and yeah, just the news for.
yeah, life can be depressing as hell. Dylan tells me depressing real life shit all the time, okay? And unfortunately, there's only so much you could do about it. And so I don't want to spend that those fleeting moments of free time. Personally, I'm literally hacking nobody for doing this with their life, or if they enjoy it to a different extent. But to a show that makes me actually like feel depressed. And so it was like I quit not solely because I knew it was going to end bad, but because I knew I was going to feel bad all the way up to that ending. Right? There was no use for me. Probably not, Jamie. I'm too lenient of a DM. Trying to kill players that's not like the last one is very unfortunate to me. I cry when any character that's like a player character dies in D&D because I'm attached. Like I'm attached at that point, right? Like I'm attached. I'm more okay with single character death as long as it's not my character. Then TPK solely because then you
Oh, so
still
you
get to
wouldn't cried if Miss Molly accidentally set herself on
oh no
fire
no
and
no
just
no 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 no.
busted on the
That's not what I'm
spot?
saying. I will cry, but if there has to be death, I'm okay with like
PCM,
PCM
I'm
with a
watching you.
single character, um, with a single character death, than like a TPK, right? Because then I still get to experience the world. That really upset me about Dylan's TPK was just the fact that like now that world is gone. Now it's dead. Like I can't have this cool campaign that he made anymore. Versus if just one character dies, then it's like, even if it's mine, but I would most sad if it's mine. Then at least one character dies. Like you still get to play in the world, right? Like you still get to experience the story as a person, even if it's not the exact same character. I do DM Jamie. It doesn't make me a bad GM. I'm just a soft GM. I did almost kill the players though, and that was more an error on my part.
That was just a balancing issue.
I'm okay with single part like if one character was to die, I can accept that as a DM. I'm okay with TPK. I was more than ready. I was more than ready to have the last fight you guys had in post haste be you all die. That was a possibility. And I was more than ready and okay for that to happen. But the idea is that you then experienced the whole thing anyway, right? Like that
Yeah.
was the end, right? So it was either the end with a happy ending or it was the end with an unfortunate ending, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with
It
that.
was the Shakespeare
Oh
way. It
yeah,
was
not
either
in
gonna
not in
end
Cyberpunk,
in
no.
laughs or it
Not
was
in
gonna end
Cyberpunk.
in tragedy.
Yeah, but at least you got to experience the story, experience the world, experience the effort that I put
Yeah.
in and have these fully fledged out characters versus
Oh
like
no, we got the full
all of our
package.
characters in Watery Grave were cut
Oof,
horribly
dead.
short. And that was very sad.
Mark your bingo cards.
Interesting, Jamie. See, it's very interesting. I'm much more okay with having the world have, especially in like a fantasy world, have things, but with the idea, again, the idea that the players are the driving force to make the change, right? Like to make the change in that world, I guess is the big thing. So that's the whole deal. What do we think about my boy's horns?
I am liking those horns. That's a very lovely vibe.
We're finally getting somewhere with the thing. Well, yeah, and that's what I'm not about, right? Because I don't need to think about that when the world is already going in that direction, or at least America, and I'm not happy. And there's only so little I could do about it.
No, this is why we give our characters nice happy endings.
My
We put
homebrew
them through
ending for
the ringers
Cyberpunk.
first, but they deserve a happy ending because that's what we all deserve.
My homebrew ending for Cyberpunk Grenade would be that David realizes that him pushing the bounds. Honestly, here's how I would have the cake and eat it too, right? Here's
That would
yeah,
be
happy
lovely,
PCM,
PCM.
very nice, very nice. We
I
need
didn't
we
even
need the
know
extra
that was an
stuff. Oh
option.
yeah, AU Neffy's great. Okay, homebrew Cyberpunk ending. You ready? I'm gonna have my cake and eat it too.
All
David
right, go for it.
does go cyber psycho, right? He does because he pushed himself too far. He got cocky, right? He goes cyber psycho. However, the relationship bond that they were trying to build between him and the girl that I've forgotten the name of,
I think it was Lucy.
Lucy, thank you.
Oh,
Lucy
my bad.
manages to bring him out of it because we've shown that he is special, right? He handled the the back spine thing, Sandevistan, like better than
Zoo
anybody thought he
fight?
could. He handled way more like, like modification that anybody should be able to, right? Like he was special. He pushes himself way too far. Lucy brings him back because that's the David in there, right? Sandevistan. You see, I got there. Like that's capable, right? Then he gets unmodded a bit, right, to a manageable level, and then his whole thing finishes with him and Lucy going to the moon, right? Like I'd be okay. Maybe they can't change the world, so they go try to make a new world on the moon. That's better than what the ending actually was. And I'm like, that top tier though, forget the moon bit. Lucy realizes that, like, okay, if people can come back from cyber psycho, right, maybe we shouldn't just let people go and die and kill themselves, right? So they start making some sort of their little heist thing, right? Their little assassin's guild or whatever it is, now isn't solely an assassin's guild, but it is also like sort of rehabilitation refuge vibes, right? So they start
Oh.
building their own city within the city that's gonna be better. That would be the end. Well, but that's not what they did in the show, Jamie. He didn't technically. I don't think he actually went Cyber Psycho in the show, but he did die, and I'm not happy about it. And it's very upsetting. Like, I understand
All
wanting
kinds of
to
salty.
avoid plot armor to an extent, but Mars and I are watching. See, it would be cool, right, Grenade? And then it's a nice happy ending. Like I understand wanting to avoid plot armor conundrum, right? Where it's like, oh, like he's gonna live. This isn't really stressful or intense because he's gonna live and it's fine, right? Like obviously that's a problem. However, I don't think that the only answer is kill the main character. I don't think that's the only answer, right? Obviously that's an option, right? Because then it shows, oh fuck, you shouldn't have gotten into that sort of false sense of security. But I don't think that's the only answer. And I think a very good example of this is Mars and I are watching Food Wars, and we're only on season one.
We're
Yeah,
still in
season one
season
still,
one.
I think. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, grenade. But the fact that where's I going with this? Oh, that, like, we know that Soma has to still be in school because that's the whole point of the thing. So there's nothing that'll, like, if he's getting thrown out of school, like, he's not getting thrown out of school. However, it's still stressful every goddamn time because he still can fail. Like, he
Yeah.
still doesn't have to succeed. He doesn't have to succeed. He doesn't have to fail so bad that he is exactly expelled, and he gets very close to being expelled, except for some fun technicality stuff and inner reflection on this other guy. But the point is that a character can have plot armor without it being boring or without any stakes, right? And I
Yeah.
think Food Wars really pushes the boundary with that, at least in the early seasons. Again, I haven't seen anything past season 2 myself, and Mars, and I are only on season 1 of the watching all the way through, right? So I don't know how it happens in later
Oh,
seasons. There's a
it's
lot of
so
seasons.
good, you guys.
But like, I feel that I'm not somebody that wants the main character because it's like I get attached to this person, right? Like I get attached to the person, like they're supposed to be the special one, and then when the special one just also dies, and like what's for me out there, right? I ain't this cool
Well,
dude. I'm just
not
gonna die.
not only that, but also depending on how your series is laid out, that protagonist, at least for the first couple episodes, is also your audience
Surrogate,
insert.
yeah.
Even, well, surrogate, yeah. I mean, even if they have their own personality and stuff, if they're learning about stuff for the first time, you're viewing it through their eyes. Depending on the type of anime, you're also hearing their inner monologue. You're basically privy to all their inner thoughts that other characters don't get. So you have that connection and you have that relatability as well. So it's like when they die, it's like, what the fuck? Like
Shonen
I
has
think why I think that's why Attack on Titan's Eren fake out death was so effective for people because they were really like, oh man, we thought this guy was going to be the protagonist the entire time. I guess we're following Armin now. But then that only lasted like I think one episode, not even two. And then suddenly Eren's back,
antique
but it
tradition.
introduced a whole new element that no one was prepared for. So that one really worked. That
Shonen
one really
hasn't
worked out.
ruined me, Jamie. There was never a point in my life when I wouldn't have wanted shonen.
Oh, trust me, guys.
it's it
Ori has been a shonen
it's
junkie
not a
since the
ruining.
beginning.
It's a I have a very specific preference.
I would say spoiled. Is spoiled the word?
Maybe I don't even know if it's spoiled. Like I have a preference, right? Like sad shows make me feel bad and they're not enjoyable, right? Like I enjoyed Devilman Crybaby, right? It was kind of weird, but I enjoyed Devilman Crybaby. I freaking bawled, like a child at the end. I watched
PCM, I think that's the point Ori's making.
I both
She
read.
doesn't want
No, that's
any more
exactly it. That's
tragedy.
exactly it, PCM. I both read and then watched the movie Marley and Me, and I sobbed for like an hour after both of those things, right? That doesn't make them bad. Honestly, they're good because I do feel that way, but I have zero desire to feel that way because I feel like that way every day when you learn anything new. And
It's so funny
uh,
talking about character deaths. You guys actually reminded me of this. I don't mean to interrupt, Ori, if you want
no, no, that's
finish
it.
up your thought. I was watching Into the Spider-Verse the other day. It
Ah,
just happened to
yes.
be on TV, and my mom was like, "Hey, come watch this before doing your stream
Yeah,
thing."
PCM.
I
I
was
wonder
like,
who that
"Yeah,
is.
this is my favorite movie of all time. I will watch it." And for those of you who haven't seen it, Peter Parker in Miles Morales' universe is kill.
Guys, and that,
Like,
oh,
straight up
straight up.
kill. And what's so amazing to me, I have seen this movie plenty of times since it has come out. I saw it in
Is it,
theaters
Jamie?
originally. I own it on DVD. I've seen it at least 5 times a year, which is a lot more than any other movie I
That's
can
a
say.
lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot. I still tear up and get goosebumps during the scene where they announce on the news that Peter Parker has been found dead.
Yeah.
And it still boggles my mind that after so many years, after
Why
so
is it
many
different?
rewatches, I still have that reaction without fail every single time. Every single time. The impact has not lessened. It hasn't been cheapened over time. Like, because sometimes you do get numb to character deaths, especially of properties you've seen over and over. Like, I gotta be honest, Harry Potter's death in or death in heavy air quotes in the final movie, like that got me on the first watch. On the second watch, not at all. And maybe
Hmm.
that's not helped by the fact that he does come back.
That he
So
doesn't actually die. Yeah.
maybe, yeah, so maybe a better example would be like, okay, let's go with this. How about Goose from Top Gun for anyone who's seen that? Um yeah, that one's pretty sad, and that one caught me off guard the first time I watched it. Uh but when I watched it the second time, it was like,
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
no,
say, Jamie. Not yet.
it didn't get me as much. But Peter Parker in Into the Spider-Verse, and it's definitely helped by the voice acting, the realness
Mandalorian
of the
season 3.
situation, like the whole setup with just them announcing it on the news, the parents watching it in front of the TV, the dad's reaction. Like, this man just said to his son, like, yeah, I don't like Spider-Man. And then he gets a news report, Spider-Man's been found dead, and you just see him like slowly covering his mouth as the camera pulls away from the scene out, just like,
Yeah. Oof.
damn! Oh, it still
Oof.
gets me. It still gets me. Like, oh, sorry, just had to rant. Yes, Jamie, not Jamie, sorry, Grenade, Lego Batman.
I need to see
Amazing.
Lego Batman.
I love that movie.
I want
You've
to. I've
not
never
seen
gotten
it?
around to it. No.
Okay, guys, I got a
Very
funny,
hype
I got a
grenade.
funny story about Lego Batman. I
Well,
was in college. Um, sorry, do you want to say
all I
something
was
fast?
gonna say is Jamie. Well, it's not exact. It's the cyberpunk depressing is IRL depressing because while maybe I won't live to see the day the world becomes cyberpunk, it feels like we're moving that way, right?
Guys,
Like that's why it's
they
depressing.
announced they announced AI DMs.
Yeah,
Okay, trust
as a
me,
thing
we're
they
moving
want to
that
do,
direction, and
right?
it's sad
So
enough. So I've had enough of
it's
reality.
less
Thank
the
you.
thing where it's like, no, maybe I won't physically experience it, but like the idea that like this is the track the world is actually going to, and I as a singular human in this world have zero capability to stop this essentially, is incredibly depressing. And so I don't want to think about that, but cyberpunk makes me think about that, like I said, specifically with the the medical aid, right? So in my opinion, in if it was to end how I said my homebrew ending would, that gives me hope that wow, maybe in the real world that is going to this hellscape, I can make a difference, right? And that living my life, like maybe one person, isn't just a drop in the bucket, and there's
To
good people out
quote
there that
Stan
are
Lee,
helping
this one
everything.
person can make a difference.
Exactly, right. And
Enough
that's what
said.
superhero movies do. That's what shonen does, right? The idea that you can get together with a a like-minded group of people and take on these incredibly daunting obstacles,
I gotta
right?
warn you guys, we're pretty optimistic people.
I need to be.
Or
I
we
need to be.
try to be.
I
That's how we fight in this world.
I had a job that I didn't have a fast food employee job or something like that. But I had a job that I absolutely hated. And I have never had like depression or anything. Like I've been very lucky. I have never had like these mental illnesses or something. Like my life has been very good, I'm very lucky in that sense. during this portion of my life where I worked at this job was the
Hmm.
worst time I've ever experienced. And so
Oh, I
any
believe it.
time that it was very, quote unquote dystopian, right? So any time that something relates to how I felt during this 2-year period of my life being the worst experience I've ever had personally is like I don't want to, like, I specifically want to escape that time of my life as much as possible. So it's like I'm not looking for this, but I can relate cyberpunk to real life things. I can relate the idea of with Legoshi, right, that he put in all this effort. I put in all this effort in my job and you get nothing out of it, right? And it didn't matter. And so it's very like, ugh.
Just hit a little too close to home.
While it might not be actually possible, Jamie, at least there's a hope to it versus like I can very much see the cyberpunk universe being almost exactly reality, and
And
that's terrifying.
there there certainly are some important people throughout history that we dedicate whole days
It
to
is
that
true.
have created a
That's
change. I
also
do
very
believe
true.
we had one this past
We did
Monday.
just yesterday.
So there is I do believe a single person can have an effect, but it's a ripple. One action
Mm-hmm.
begets another action. It's never just one person on their own. That would be ridiculous.
Well, it can be night like dangerous in a certain sense, Jamie. That uh, we did not really talk about Staves. No, we didn't end up talking about Staves. We talked about a lot
I'm sorry,
Pathfinder, and then we
Dave.
got Staffs, the
Yeah.
title. Yeah, we
Some
didn't.
somehow this turned into pseudo
Because
comic corner.
I didn't end up drawing a staff because I technically had done it already. So it kind of got out the window. That's such as life, PCM. But while definitely having too much of either way is poisonous, Jamie, I don't think that I need, me personally. Again, I want to make sure I'm not trying to attack anybody. Everybody has their own freaking preferences, that's the whole thing. But me personally, I hear so many sad and terrible things on the news, in my freaking field of study. I'm an environmentalist at heart, so knowing all the horrible things about
Oh,
that,
you must be having a fun time
no,
right
I
now.
literally have to avoid it. I literally have to avoid it because it'll just make me incredibly upset. Because in that case, no, there is nothing I can do, and there is nothing that a single person can do. Right? It is recycling is a lie. All of it's a lie, and all the big corporations are trying to make that happen. So it's one of those things where it's like these dystopians feel too real, right? And hopefully I'm lucky enough to not live to them, but people will be unlucky enough to live to them, and that is horrifying. So while I get my daily dose of not hope throughout existing,
It's got to be
I want
balanced out with
that free
some hope.
time that I have to be enjoyable. Waking up this morning and get a phone call from Dylan saying that, yeah, D&D Beyond is trying to replace DMs with AI when, AI is already trying to replace artists and the things that people do with that. And then, yeah, all of this other stuff is things. Yeah, happy AU times. Let's finish it out with happy AU Neffy.
Oh,
It's,
I was gonna tell a funny story
oh
about
yeah,
Lego
go on.
Batman because Grenade
PCM's
had
gonna
me
write
on a
it down.
tangent, but I wanna let you finish your thought.
It's more just like, I personally get more than enough reality checks during reality that I'm gonna spend the free time during feeling more hopeful, so that I want to keep living in some sort of extent.
That
And
that is the vibe. That is the vibe.
that is the vibe. So tell your tangent about Lego
All
Batman
right,
while PCM
let's
writes.
let's get us on a funny note. So I was in college when the Lego Batman movie came out, and I really loved the Lego movie. I don't remember how I saw the Lego movie. I think I saw it with my family in theaters. I don't think it was with friends. But when I heard Lego Batman was coming out, I was not all over it, but I was kind of like, okay, if it's by the same people who did the first movie, this has got to be good. So I wanted to go see it, and I was like, well, I have no one to go with. Like my best friend at the time who lived on campus with me was at the time not on campus with me. So I was like, all right, well, who can I take with me to go see this? That was the semester I learned I just got to take myself out to
Mm-hmm.
do things by myself. Like, I could go see a movie by myself. I can go out to a restaurant by myself. I can do things for myself and not deprive myself of fun just because I don't have someone with me. So,
Mm.
what I did on Valentine's Day, I walked to the theater in our college town, and there were two options: 50 Shades of Grey Part 2 and the Lego Batman
And
movie.
I know which one you're not
all
choosing.
all of the college kids, especially the couples, went into the 50 Shades of Grey
Why?
Part
It's
2
not a
room.
couple movie.
I went
No.
over to Lego Batman and I had the time of my
Like a
life.
good child
I
should.
I think I was the only college student in that room, and I was surrounded by middle schoolers and younger kids and families. I was laughing my ass off. I was having the time of my life. I was
Beautiful.
in heaven. It was phenomenal.
Amazing.
It was so damn good. And that memory is burned like a CD in my mind. Yeah.
Oh,
And Lego Batman will always have a special place in my heart. Also, it's just a great movie.
I want to
Perfectly
see it. I've
constructed.
just never
Oh my
gotten
god.
there to it, you know?
Ori, I swear, I will watch it with you. I fucking love that movie. So, like, dude, talk about a comedy. This is like a joke a mile a minute. Like, they throw so many jokes at you in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. And
I'll take your
at
word for
least
it,
from
Jamie.
my perspective, every single one of them lands. Like, it's great. And it's such a good deconstruction of the Batman mythos
Oh, okay.
in Lego, like a Lego movie. This is like,
Beautiful.
along with Kung Fu Panda, the biggest don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. It's phenomenal. It's so, so good.
Yeah, I don't plan on reading it, Jamie.
I
The amount of dog books that I have stopped.
uh why are dog books so depressing?
Because they all because the only unanimous thing that everybody can agree on is that your dog dies and it's sad, and so every dog has to die and it's
We
sad.
know that.
Yeah, that's what it is. But you know, we're gonna leave this on a happy note. I have someone that I
Yep.
really want to raid tonight because he's having his
Ooh.
500 Twitch follower thing. It's
Oh
Hans
my
Half Elven.
gosh.
And he should still be streaming right now. I'm gonna
Oh, we
check,
gotta tell them congratulations.
but people depressing, not dog depressing. It's all depressing. Um, but let's check, make sure he is streaming. So we're gonna go congratulate him and do that and hang out over there.
Big
It works. It worked
milestone.
out really well that he's doing D&D stuff and we were doing our do today. So yep, we're right here for
Yeah,
the Hans
teleport.
raid. And yeah, let's go over there, guys. So
Alrighty.
thanks you all for coming to our first sort of Pathfinder clicked thing. Um,
Yeah, that was wild.
sure, PCM, have fun doing that. But we
Best of
nothing
luck
here
to you,
tomorrow.
PCM.
Your Wednesday is open. We'll see you all Thursday for Gardic
Thursday.
Phone and Comic Corner. All
That's
right.
gonna be our big day from now on.
Yep,
So
indeed. All right. Have a great
look
hump
forward
day,
to seeing
guys,
you.
and we'll see you Thursday. Let's go say hi.
TTFN.